That goes there. What's good, my dudes? Hey, how's it going? What are we all up to? How we all doing? What are we all feeling? Speaking of feeling, I've been thinking more and more about the problem of psychophysical harmony. I can yap at all of you about psychophysical harmony, and there's nothing you can do. You have to sit there and listen. You know, everyone's favorite topic. I don't know. I mean, psychophysical harmony is kind of like a newer argument in favor of theism, although I don't think it's gonna have very good staying power. It seems to have like a lot of like pretty fatal objections that haven't hit the literature base yet. Um, but okay, so the basic idea behind like psychophysical harmony is this that we have like certain brain states, and those brain states, like our minds produce certain like feelings associated with them such that there's like something that it feels like to have that experience. So um but these states are often like not causal, or like they aren't the cause of like a specific behavior. So for example, you'll tap like a really hot stove or something, and then there'll be like an instant like limbic response that doesn't even like that response only makes it as far as like I think the spinal cord. It doesn't even make it all the way back up to the brain to alert your hand to like pull away. It's like a pre-consciousness, and then along with that, there will be some signal that like your brain produces. There'll be like the firing of like C fibers, which will then make you feel pain. But you could have the pulling your hand away behavior without like the pain experience. There's something. So the idea behind psychophysical harmony is that like our mental states kind of feel like the physical states that they're meant to embody. That there's like kind of like a badness to pain. There's like something about the feeling of pain motivates us to avoid it, and that it's very fortunate that we have like a match like that the feeling of pain corresponds to the behavior that we're supposed to do with it. That kind of like the feeling of it helps explain the avoidance behavior. um but anyway, I think like the critical problem with psychophysical harmony is that there just seems to be so many examples of disharmony. um a disharmony, a good way to identify disharmony is this: when the thing doesn't feel as it probably should. So, for example, you can feel motivated to pursue something that isn't pleasurable, that isn't enjoyable. Like you see this a lot with like people who use substances. There's a lot of like motivation, but depending on the stage that you're in, basically zero like pleasure is actually derived from it. Um, So, uh, that seems to be like a pretty straightforward disharmony, that we're motivated to do things that we don't actually enjoy, which is not harmonious. I think the harmonious thing would be if you were only motivated to do or towards things that you enjoy, or towards things that you found like pleasurable, and then you only felt pleasure in like the specific circumstances that mapped onto like some sort of level of like objective value or something like that. So that's a disharmony. I think another like pretty like critically underutilized disharmony. There seems to be like just this catastrophic disharmony that goes along with our like cognitive states, like our specifically our cognitive biases. Humans use heuristics to come to judgments like all of the time, constantly. We're constantly using heuristics, and in fact, oftentimes our brain is just guessing, but in these circumstances, it doesn't feel like your brain is just guessing. It feels like your brain is onto something. It feels like there's like some real oomph behind your judgments. There's like a specific phenomena that I think is like worth kind of like flagging is this. It's called choice blindness. So let's say you make like a choice. Like, okay, you're presented with two faces and you're asked, okay, which of these two people is hotter? And you pick one, and then they put the faces away, and then they bring back like this third face that has like the same hair but like a totally different face from the one that you chose. And it's like, okay, what did you like about this one? And people will start giving reasons for why they chose that one despite the fact that they didn't choose it. Your brain will just start like, very often when you ask people like, why did you do what you do, like to give an explanation or like an account for their actions, typically they'll give you like a causal theory. Like they'll kind of just start like making shit up for why they chose what they chose. You can do like a similar experiment with like political affiliation or like on specific political issues. You can ask people, okay, do you align more with this or with that? And then okay, when they tell you which one they align with, you can just bring the opposite views and say, okay, you selected these views, you know, what made you select them? And then they'll start giving reasons for why they selected the thing that they didn't select. But they do that without even noticing. But I think that if our psychophysical states were more harmonious, it would feel like what it is. Like you're just guessing. You're making something up. You're making up a causal explanation, but we feel very certain. So there's like a disharmony there. I don't know if that makes any sense. Anyway, hey, if you want to debate the topic, if you think God is real, make sure that you're 18 or older. Make sure that you believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. You could also be a deist. I'm fine debating a deist as well. And, you know, it would be cool if you have some reason to think that God exists. All right, we got to get through the trolls. Hey, how's it going?
Why aren't you Catholic?
You sound like you're 6. Now, on to the next one. Yeah, trolls used to be convincing. They really did. Now they come on and they're like the fucking like the squeaker that I used to be on like Xbox Live. Man, that was like the good old days. You know, being like 9 years old on Xbox Live and getting called like the most horrendous names by 20 somethings playing Halo Reach. I miss those days so much. But anyway, currently I have nobody requesting to join. If you're in that guest request box, you got to be 18 or older. You got to believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. You could be the one. You could be the one that debates this with me. My favorite Mass Effect game? I don't really have one. I haven't played much Mass Effect. Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Yep. How old are you?
26, January the 19th, 2000.
And what religion?
I'm not actually one of the 3 Abrahamics, so did you want me to go?
Do you believe in God?
I'm a living Satanist.
Do you think that Satan is like actually real?
Well, no, because it's atheistic.
Oh,
so
then yeah, I do. Thanks for coming on. Hey, how's it going?
Ian, what's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going? How old are you?
28.
Yep. And what religion?
Jesus King.
Okay. What makes you think that God exists?
Look at everything around you, brother.
Okay. I've looked at everything around me. I'm unconvinced that God exists. What now?
I don't know. I guess we gotta just wait and see. What's the movement for, though?
What's the movement for? I'm not sure what you're asking.
What's the movement for? Like, if God doesn't exist to you, like, do you make money off this?
I do, but I think people should believe true things. I think the primary driver of this is that, you know, I just think that it's true, and I think people should believe true things. And I think that, I mean, like by and large, I think religion is net negative. I'm sure there are like some cases that you could find where it's been positive to some people in some circumstances, but I think as a total, we should probably be trying to move away from that.
Jesus thought the same thing, though. Jesus thought religion was pointless too. He didn't intend to create religion.
Okay, I think God belief specifically.
Huh?
I think God belief specifically is net negative.
No, like he was killed by religious leaders.
Sounds good, champ. But why would I think that God exists?
Why would you think? I mean, it is a personal choice, but
Is there any evidence? Like, what justifies your belief in thinking that God is real?
I mean, this conversation is ordained.
Okay. What's the evidence for that?
Wait, your followers said they remember me. That's lit. That's so lit.
Do they remember you not answering questions?
I mean, I guess so.
Yeah, I just want to know. So you're saying like this conversation is the evidence that God exists. How do we get from this conversation to therefore God exists?
I mean, I'm here. You could just, come with me.
I can come with you. I can't come with you. You're over the internet. And why would I want to?
No, I'm talking about like faith, belief.
Why would I want to do that? I'll believe in it if there's evidence to believe in it. But one thing that's
'Cause Jesus is-
important to me
Jesus-
is believing true
Jesus the way,
things.
the
If
truth,
I
and the
just start
life, bro.
believing things willy-nilly for no reason, well, I'd give up like a pretty substantial portion of the things that I think are important.
The key word I, right? I. It's
Mhm.
all our personal choice, but you keep saying I. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's up to you, bro.
But why would I want to? Why would I want to believe something that has no evidence?
Because Jesus is the way, the truth, and life.
What's the evidence for that?
Oh, you read the Bible?
Yep.
I know you're gonna say like the Bible. I know that, but you read the Bible, right?
Yeah. I came
Alright, so
out
did
way
you-
less
did you-
convinced. It was actually
Okay,
reading the
okay,
Bible. I
I
thought there would be
know.
something
Ian,
to it, but I came
Ian,
away
we know
like just
that.
kind of
We
baffled.
We know, brother. But look though, right? So when you were reading it, right, did you put faith into what you were reading?
What do you mean by faith?
Did you put belief?
Did I believe
Into
what I
what you
was
were
reading?
Yeah.
No, not unless I had some outside of the Bible reason to believe it. There are some things that I read and I believed, and
So
there are other
when you
things
read-
that
okay.
I read and I didn't
Okay.
believe. So, for example,
Okay.
I didn't
Okay,
believe all the
okay.
scientific inaccuracies, and I didn't believe
You
all
don't
the
have to
supernatural
overshare.
stuff.
That's the art of confusion. You don't have to
Okay.
do that. All right. Let's keep
I'm
it simple.
sorry.
So, like,
Am I confusing or are you confused?
no, you're just making it, complex for no reason. But look though. So if you never put faith into what you were reading, right? Like, how did it become real to you? How was your faith ever existing?
It never became real to me.
So you never had faith.
Yeah, I never had faith when I was reading the Bible. Why would
Bingo.
I?
So God never been real to you.
God was real to me before I read the Bible when I was like 13,
So-
and then I changed my mind about it. I had faith at that age, but that was like silly, right? You shouldn't
you
have
have faith
faith
or
in
did
things.
you
You
have
should have
personal
evidence
favor
for
to somebody
things.
tell you
Whoa,
that?
I don't know why you're getting so upset.
I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. I just want to
Okay.
continue. Did you have faith or did somebody tell you to have faith?
Somebody told me to have faith, and also I
Bingo.
had faith.
Okay, so let's talk about your faith at the age of 13. How was that for you?
It was fine. I don't know. I mean, it was like a standard thing to go and do. Same as all the other standard things that I had to go and do. Sometimes your parents take you to doctor's appointments, and that's like whatever, it kind of sucks. And sometimes you have to go to church, and that kind of sucks too.
I love
Bit of a drag.
I love all these frivolous analogies, bro, that have nothing to do with your personal faith. Like, it's so
Maybe
crazy.
it's just going over your head.
How, bro? Like, you just use a doctor's appointment for faith.
Yeah. It's like something in
Alright.
my life as a 13-year-old, as there were like lots of other things in my life as a 13-year-old.
You was
I was
13, even
telling
the Bible
you
said-
what it was like.
You were 13 though, bro. Even the Bible says we drink spiritual milk, then we drink solid food. I mean, then we eat solid food, right? It matures. Your faith matures. You exercise faith
That
until
could
it
be
become a
true,
knowing
but
system.
I mean, why would I
not a
want
belief
to
system.
increase like irrational beliefs? Why would I want to believe something with no evidence?
All right. Let's do what you're doing then. Why would you want to tell people God isn't real if you don't
Because
believe
it's
in God?
true.
Right?
Don't you think people
Let's-
should believe true things?
Yeah, but God is true. Jesus, the
what's
way,
the
the truth,
evidence
and
for
life.
that? Yeah, what justifies your belief that God is true?
All right, so should I be like you and like be like condescending?
You think I'm condescending? Am I condescending, or I don't know? Do you feel condescended too?
I mean, every day the sun rises and the sun sets. That's kind of like simple and lit, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Right? That's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty cool. So what?
All right, so like, do you enjoy life?
Did you really get like spawn killed on that one? Are we moving on? We moving past?
No, victory's already won, bro. I don't deem anything as a loss. But like, do
Okay.
you enjoy life?
Yeah. No, I love life.
All right. Do you know that in John 12:25 it says, "Those who love their life in this world will lose it, and those who hate their life in this world will win it for eternity"?
Okay, so what? What's the evidence that John is true?
So I tell you this with my discernment: you genuinely look sad, but you disguise it.
Wow, that's like excellent psychoanalysis. No, my life is quite happy. You know, I get to do what I love every day. I love
Worry
debating.
about.
I love reading. I get to do both of those things pretty extensively every day.
I mean, I'm sad too, but we transmute our pain by
I'm
being
not
service for
sad.
others. You're not sad?
No.
You enjoy this world? You don't think it's
Yeah,
crazy?
I think
The
this
stuff we
world's
see on the
great. I
news?
think it kicks ass. Yeah, it's fun.
The stuff we see on the news, you don't think it's insane? You don't think it's
Yeah, it's not
absurd?
that sad. I think more than anything, I get pretty angry at the news.
Word. But it don't bother you? Not
It
for
bothers
others?
me, and to the extent that I get mad about it. You know, I think something ought be done to change some of the injustice in the world. But
Word.
when I evaluate how my life is going, how my interpersonal connections are going, how my overall purpose in life feels, it feels really good. I don't know. This
For
is like probably the
yourself,
happiest
right?
I've ever been.
So like do you care about others?
Yeah, of course.
Like, because it's in our nature to have natural affection for others, right?
Yeah, I care about others.
All right.
Luckily,
So
I
like
have really good social connections, really good friendships,
so
and
if
they
God
didn't need to be
works
forced by believing
so
in like some sort of like fairy tale.
so if God works for others, like those people just excluded from the people you care about?
No,
I
there's some
mean, you
religious
know,
people that I care about.
but
Like I
I hear
have
you say,
coworkers that I'm good friends with,
but I
who are
heard you
Muslim
say,
and who are Christian.
but I heard you say in multiple like different debates and stuff like that. You know, I follow you. Ian. Like, well, I don't follow you literally, but I follow you. But like you say like religion or Christianity has caused more destruction, like than than
I don't
good,
think I
right?
say that very frequently. I
But you
do think
said it
I do
before.
think that it's like net negative, but no, that doesn't mean that I have some sort of like vendetta against individual religious people. I don't care about individual religious people. You know, I just think that their beliefs are unjustified, and I think that if they wanted to live a better life, they would believe true things.
Word. So tell me something true, brother.
God's not real.
Whoa. All right. So what we doing here? What's
Do you
our
think?
purpose?
Wait, can I ask you a question? Do you think God
Yeah,
is
we.
all powerful and all good?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think that God has the power to do the impossible?
Of course.
Okay, so you think God has the power to, I don't know, make a God who's not all powerful and all good?
God make a God that's all
Yeah, does God have
powerful?
the power to make another God who's not all powerful and not all good and not perfect?
No, it's only one God. I know it's a lot of people who
Oh,
think
then
they're
he
gods and
can't do
stuff
the
like that.
impossible. So there are things that he can't do.
But no, it's multiple people in history who thought they were gods. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm asking, do you think that God has the power to make more gods that lack the essential properties of God?
He made everything. It's just we in a fallen state, right? So
Do you
it's
want to even like
people.
attempt to answer the question, or
I am like, what's my personal answer? What you talking about?
what do you think the question was?
Why is it a format of way I have to answer your question?
I just want to know, what do you think the question was?
What? You
Were you not
so you try to test to
listening?
see if people got memories or what? Like, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah, typically when somebody answers the question, if they
Hey,
actually
wait,
answered the
Ian.
question, they'd be able to tell you what
Wait,
the question was.
wait, Ian, you know one
Typically,
of the names of
when
the
people
devil.
can't tell me what the question is,
Ian,
it's
Ian,
because
you
they didn't
know,
listen to it.
Ian, do you know one of the names of the devil is the art of confusion? You know that?
Wow, powerful. Powerful stuff. Do you want me to just repeat the
Yeah.
question?
I don't care about it. I was answering your question. You interrupted my answer. What you talking about?
It was yes, no question.
What?
It's just, does God have the power to make an additional God who doesn't have the essential properties of God?
What? No, people will think
Then
that
he's
they're
not all
God. There's
powerful.
only one God. What?
You said God has the power to do the impossible. Well, here's an impossible task. And you're saying that he doesn't have the power to do it, so he's not all powerful.
So your questions leads into something, bro. But you're not taking people's actual answers.
I am taking your actual answer, and I'm pointing out how it's a contradiction. It contradicts what you said earlier.
All right. So I think your guests want me off here because I'm not debating. But like, good having a conversation with you, brother.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
All right, love you.
Yep. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, doing all the good stuff. If you're in that guest request box, make sure that you're 18 or older. Make sure that you believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran as we go to the very next guest. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it? How are you?
Doing well. How old are you?
I'm 39.
And what religion?
Christian.
Yep. What makes you think God exists?
Well, your prompt says God isn't real. Why isn't God real?
Sure. I think that there are contradictions in God's essential properties. So, for example, one that I've been reading up on lately is a problem between omnibenevolence and omnipotence. So, do you think that God is both all good and all powerful?
Yeah, he is.
Okay. Do you think God has the power to do the impossible?
Yeah, if he wants to.
Okay. Well, then God is like trivially not real under these views, because then God would have the power to make himself no longer exist, which would contradict his, I don't know, eternality.
No.
Does God have the power to make himself no longer exist?
No. God has a power that can make everyone choose what they want. He
I
has
was
the
just
power
wondering,
to.
so okay, then God's not all powerful if he doesn't have this power.
No, he does have the power. If he wants to, he can do it. But why would he do it?
Okay, so I just want to be clear then. So he does have the power to do it.
Yeah, he does have the power, but why must he do it?
I'm not saying that he must do it. I'm saying that if he has the power to do it, then it's possible for him to do it. But of course, if God is eternal, then it wouldn't be possible for him to stop existing. So it's both possible for God to stop existing and not possible for God to stop existing. Your God
No.
belief has contradictions.
No, God is outside time, space, and matter.
Sounds good, champ.
God
I just
doesn't
don't know
live
how you
in-
think that helps you.
No, God doesn't live in space, time, and matter. So we are governed by time, space, and matter. God lives outside of that.
Okay, let me help you out here. I can put it on a syllogism. So we got something like premise 1. If God is all powerful, then God has the power to make himself no longer exist. If a being has the power to do something, then it's possible for them to do it. Premise 3, if God is necessarily eternal, then it is not possible for God to no longer exist. Therefore, if God is all powerful, then he is not necessarily eternal. There you go.
Okay, so point number 1, if God is all powerful, then God has the power to make himself no longer exist. And he
Yeah.
did it through Jesus Christ.
Okay, so you agree with the first one?
Yes, he no longer exists in human form.
I'm saying no longer exists at all.
No.
Oh, so he
You
doesn't
see,
have that
the
power
God of the
then he's
Bible-
not all powerful.
The God, no. The God of the Bible is different from the other gods. The God of the Bible is a triune God. So he's Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Yeah, do they have the power to make all of them no longer exist?
The question is, why would they?
I'm just asking if they have the power to. That's a separate question. Why would they?
Okay, so our minds cannot comprehend that.
Okay, well,
minds
one of two things is
won't be able to
true. Either
fathom
God
that.
does have the power, in which case the argument goes through, or God doesn't have the power, in which case that contradicts what you said earlier, that God has the power to do the impossible.
Okay, so if God no longer exists, that means we won't exist as well. So what you're trying to say
Okay.
is that God no longer exists, but we continue to
I
exist.
just need to know which premise you disagree with. Do you disagree with premise 1, 2, or 3?
In fact, I disagree with all, because the reason for that
You don't want
is
to
that
disagree with all of them.
No. The reason for that is that if God stopped existing, we will stop existing. So how would we know that God is stopping
Wait, so
from being
just,
existing?
just to be clear, you disagree that if God is eternal, then it's not possible for him to no longer exist?
Okay, so
You
what you're trying
disagree
to
that
say
like an
is that-
eternal being can't
Okay,
cease
so
to
what you're trying to
exist? I think
say-
that you were a bit premature when you said that you reject all of the premises. I think that you should really think
Alright.
the premises through before you go and reject them. Because just to be clear, you do reject the premise that God being eternal means that you think that the eternal God can cease to exist.
He can be. It's impossible.
Okay, so then you
He's
agree with the third.
eternal.
You agree with the third premise then.
He's, I mean, like I explained to you, if God ceases to exist,
That was a
we
yes or no
would cease to
question.
exist. We would cease to exist as well.
That was a yes or
because
no
we
question.
came from God. You see, you're looking at it from a different side of aspect. I'm looking at it from the Word of God side.
I just want to know whether or not you disagree with the third premise that if God is necessarily
Because,
eternal, then it's not possible
okay,
for him to no longer exist. Because you said you
okay,
rejected all
let's
three of
say
the premises and
hypothetically
then you
speaking,
affirmed it
right?
almost word for word. So I'm just trying to get clear
Okay,
whether or not you think the eternal God can cease to exist.
let's look at hypothetically speaking, right? Let's say if God
Do you want to answer that
says,
question? Okay, you don't want to answer
no,
that
no,
question
no.
either.
Let's say God says, I don't want to exist anymore.
I wouldn't want to answer that question either if I were you.
All right. Wait. If God says, I don't want to exist anymore, how would we know that God is not existing? Because we would cease to exist.
Do you think this
We would
answers the
cease to
argument
exist
in
to
any way,
know.
shape, or form?
You see, you can make an argument, but in reality, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. If we have to look at reality, if God says, okay, I want to cease to
Hey,
exist.
True God TV. I know that it sounds like what you want to do is like preach. No,
No,
engage
I'm
with
not
the
preaching
argument.
that.
Stop running.
Because let's
You're
look
running
at
away
proof
from the
and
argument. It's on
evidence and
screen.
reality.
I just want to be clear. Do you want to answer like a single question, or are you done answering questions?
Okay. If God is necessarily
Are you
eternal,
done
then
answering
it is not
questions, or
possible.
are you interested in answering a question?
Okay, ask me any question.
Yeah. Can the eternal God cease to exist?
Yes, if he wants to. If he wants to.
So is he
But why
necessary?
would
What does it mean to be eternal?
he's forever? It's outside time,
So
space, and
he's
matter.
forever, but he's not. So he's necessarily forever, but not necessarily forever.
No, he is forever.
Okay,
always
but he's
there.
also not necessarily forever in the circumstance where he ceases to exist. So he's both necessarily
Like,
forever and not necessarily forever. A
like I
contradiction.
said, if he wants to, but why would he want to?
We're just asking if it's possible.
If it's possible, how would we know it's possible? Because if God ceases to exist, we would cease to exist too. How
Yeah.
would we know that?
Yeah, here's a way that we could know that it's possible is that if God is all powerful, then God has the power to make himself no longer exist. If a being has the power to do something, then it's possible for them to do that. That would be an argument for why we would think that if God's all powerful, that he would have or that it would be possible for him to cease to exist.
Okay, for example, if we would cut down all the apple trees on the earth,
Wait, would
how
you
would we
disagree
know?
with that?
If
Okay, yeah, just like more non-engaging.
no, because I'm trying to make my point.
Is it
Because you
does
said
it interact
God
with my
ceased to
point?
exist.
Because I'm not interested in hearing like your point that doesn't interact with my point.
Yeah, but you got to understand that we all came from God. If God ceases to
What's the
exist,
evidence
we
for
will all
that? What's the
cease
argument
to
for that?
exist. Well, the Bible's the evidence from that, and the
Okay.
Bible's exactly what's happening today.
Why would I believe that the
There's
Bible
no
is
other
true?
book. There's no other book that has come close to creation, that has come close to how we were formed, where we came out from. No other book came close to it.
What about like an evolutionary textbook? You know, the Bible shits the bed on the matter of where we came from. The Bible gets it profoundly wrong. It states that we came all together with all the other species of animal. It makes no mention of like common ancestors that we have like overwhelming evidence for via things like evolution. You know, the Bible gets it like catastrophically wrong. It implies that the earth is like a couple thousand years old when in fact it's way older than that.
Well, that has been debunked.
Which part of it?
That the earth is millions of years old. That
It's
has been debunked.
billions of years old.
Billions. And how did you come about that? How did
That's a
you?
really great
How did you?
question. So the way we determine the age of the Earth, there are these things called zircon crystals. So their crystalline structure, they're so small that they can't have any lead in the formation of them. There will be zero lead in every single zircon crystal when it initially forms. But the structure does allow for uranium for uranium atoms to form within the structure. So through the decay of these uranium atoms, eventually to lead atoms, we can compare the ratio of uranium atoms to lead atoms. And then using half-lives, we can do pretty basic math to determine basically exactly how old these zircon crystals are within a given
And who
range.
created the formula for that? Who created the
Yeah,
formula
this is
for
like
that?
basic math that just follows from half-lives.
So I
Do
mean, like
you understand like
the people who
half-lives, like the
created.
concept of a half-life?
I understand the concept, but what I'm trying to say is that who created the formulas it's probably atheists who created the formulas.
I actually wouldn't even be
to
surprised if
find out.
Christians did this because these are like so fundamental to chemistry that I mean these are just going to be like pretty ubiquitous.
Well, I don't think it's the Earth is 4,000 or 4 billion years old, based on some test. Because how do we know the test is true?
Based on the half-lives. It just follows from the half-lives.
I mean, we got to believe someone that tells us, "Hey, listen, the Earth is 4 billion years." Just like you have to believe how we tell you that God created the Earth.
Wait, sorry, but so I just gave you the evidence that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Were you listening, or did you like rip your headphones out when I started speaking?
But I gave you evidence that God created, and you.
What's
and
the evidence
you-
that
and
God
you
created
put
it? Was it the Bible that I don't grant?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Because
I
I
mean,
don't
not
grant,
granted, right?
Your test, because I don't grant your test. Also,
Okay, so which step of that would you reject then? Go ahead.
all of it.
Okay, can you summarize back what it was?
Something
not
about
listening?
half-life.
Yeah, okay.
Half-life,
So
you
you didn't hear like
testing
any of
something.
that. Don't you think you at least need to hear the test before you reject it? Don't you think it's kind of embarrassing to have a strong opinion to the point where you reject something that you know nothing
Okay.
about? Isn't that like kind of
Do you
like super
understand test?
embarrassing?
Do you understand tests? Do you understand how tests are done?
How tests are done? Yeah,
Yeah.
for some things.
Do you understand? Okay. For example, if someone has to take a pregnancy test, what are they looking for in the P?
Like are you speaking out like the pregnancy test? Sorry, I thought you meant
Yes,
P like
yes,
probability.
pregnancy.
Yeah, I have
Right,
no
a
idea what they're
pregnancy
looking for in a
test.
pregnancy test.
Right. If somebody has to pee, okay. A female.
That's not my claim. I'm not making any claims about pregnancy tests. I'm making claims about
No,
half-lives.
I'm giving you an example, here that will show you how your claim is wrong. Okay,
Okay.
let's look, for example, let's look at COVID, right? When somebody took a COVID test, they were looking for some sort of a virus in there. But in the test, there's an indicator to find the virus.
Okay.
Right. Now, what is in your test to indicate that the Earth is 4 billion years?
Yeah, the ratio of uranium atoms to lead atoms.
The ratio of
Uranium atoms to lead atoms in a zircon crystal.
No, man, that doesn't make sense.
Oh gosh. Hey chat, no. Chat, have we
No, that
considered
doesn't
no?
make sense.
Gosh, uranium lead
That
dating
doesn't-
obliterated. True God
That
TV on
doesn't make
TikTok
sense.
disproves uranium lead dating. Wow, a truth nuke. Wow, that was like some really powerful stuff.
No, that's all made up. What you're saying?
Oh,
That's made up from someone.
can you tell me what the name of the dating method is?
I don't care about that.
You don't even know what the name is, let alone how it works. Why would anyone take
Why should
your
I?
opinion seriously on this at all?
Why should I? Why should I be educated?
Don't you think you
about
should
it?
know
How
the
is it
first
gonna
thing
help
about
me?
it, its name, before you reject it?
No, but how is it going to help me in my life?
It's going to lead you to believe true things.
True things. Like,
The age of the earth.
I don't care. How old
You
the
don't
age
care
of
how
the-
you don't care about truth? Is truth not something that's compatible with the Christian religion?
No, I love truth. I
Do
love
you?
truth. But why should we know how old the earth is when people are dying, when people are getting murdered here on the earth?
You know, you can address both. Knowing the age of the earth doesn't trade off with stopping the hardships and the badness that's here on the earth. In fact, advancing science is one of the great ways to actually help people by understanding the world around us, by understanding things like earthquakes, by understanding things like viruses. You're actually able to help more people.
I understand that. Listen, I'm not banning scientists because I believe that scientists help us. But what I'm trying to say is that when people use science to prove their narrative, to prove their ideologies and impose it upon people, I don't think that's right.
Well, what if we did this? We can just like look at the formulas for uranium lead dating, and then you can tell us which part of the formulas you disagree with. Like, where do you think they're getting it wrong, basically? Okay, so here's what I got for you.
Well, I didn't study physics in school, so
Don't you think that that's
I
like one of the
wouldn't
things
understand
that you
it.
should probably do before having an opinion as strong as like you rejecting uranium lead dating? Don't you think that you should maybe understand it first? This math isn't even very complicated, by the way. This math is like relatively straightforward. All you
Well,
need
I
is
don't
the
understand.
number of uranium atoms measured within the crystal, the number that would have been there originally, which you can determine based on the number of lead atoms there. Because all the
Well,
lead
bro,
that's there decayed from uranium, the original amount of uranium in there is just going to be the uranium plus the lead. The decay rate of
unfortunately, my
uranium,
friend,
which follows just from like half-lives.
unfortunately, this is not going to help me to fight poverty. So I don't care.
Okay, you don't care
This
about
is not
truth.
going to
That's
help
fine.
me.
If you don't care
This
about
is not
truth,
going to
that's
help
fine.
me to take care of the elderly people on the earth. That's not going to help me to feed the poor, to take care of the animals. So it doesn't matter to me.
You're welcome to not care about truth. If you don't care about truth, fine. But some
No,
of us
I
do.
care about truth.
No, you
I
don't.
care about truth.
You
I do.
categorically don't care about truth.
Well,
That's like stolen
your
valor
idea
for
of
you to
truth
say that
and
you
my
care about
idea
truth.
of
No, you
truth is two
don't.
different.
I showed you like
Your
some
idea of
basic
truth and my
formulas,
idea
and
of truth.
you got like so upset that you said, "Well, this isn't going to help me at all. This isn't going to help anyone." You can't claim to care
That's not
about
going to help
truth when you
anyone.
reject evidence that's right there in front of your face. I
How
guess
is
it's
that
true
going
what
to help
the
a
old
starving
atheist
child
said,
in
or
Africa?
what the new atheist said. I guess you do really have to choose between science and religion. I guess you can't have both.
Listen, how is that going to help a starving child in Africa? How is that formula going to
The
help
advancement
a
of
starving
science
child
is
in Africa?
good holistically. It allows us
No,
to move
listen.
away from religious dogma by being able to recognize that there are going to be things like they used to think that these diseases were divine punishments, but through the advancement of science, by being able to accept that what the Bible says is not literally true, we're able to actually advance science and come to the realization that these diseases are not punishments from God or whatever, and that we don't need to be in the streets like
Who said
whipping
it's punishment from
ourselves.
God? Who said it's punishment from God?
Hmm?
Who said that sickness is punishment from God?
Like a long history of people. During the
No.
Black Plague, there were like groups of people
See, that's the
that were
problem.
whipping themselves on the streets because they thought it was punishment from God.
That's the thing. You told me I didn't study my formulas. You never studied the Bible to come up with claims against my God.
Wait, sorry, what's one question that I didn't answer? I mean, we caught you
No,
in
it's-
like innumerable contradictions at the beginning. Then we asked you for like some basic evidence. You got Spawn killed on the scientific evidence. I just don't think that you're in much of a place to be like grandstanding.
Right. Okay. So first of all, if you can go back to our conversation, you asked me what religion I am. I said I'm a Christian. I believe in the God of the Bible. So meaning you are supposed to debunk me based on the Bible.
Mhm.
You are supposed to show me that the God of the Bible doesn't exist. That's what you were supposed to prove
Yep.
to me.
Yeah, and I did.
But you haven't proved anything.
I did. First, we found contradictions in your
proving
God,
formulas
and then we
and formulas
demonstrated
and formulas.
scientifically how your God doesn't exist, or how he just totally shits the bed in terms of the description of how we got here.
Well, that's how powerful he is, that he gave you an option to choose which way to go. That makes him all powerful.
He's so powerful that he inserted falsehoods into his book.
He's so powerful that he made you that you have the choice to be an atheist. You have a choice to curse him.
Do you think
That's
that
how
there are false
powerful he
things present in the Bible?
False.
Yeah, are there
False things
falsehoods?
present in the Bible. Nope.
Okay. Do you think that pi has a value of 3.14?
Listen, you put in science with spiritual
That's
things.
math,
my friend.
actually.
Math with spiritual things. Let's talk about spiritual things because God is a spiritual being.
Is math at odds with God?
No, listen. You want to put 1 + 1. Unfortunately, that's not going to work with us as Christians.
So, well, here's something for you. I wonder if
That's
there's
why
like
you
dark
guys
mode.
fail. That's why you guys fail, because you guys don't understand spiritual things.
I just don't know if I'd be making a claim like that if I were you after a debate performance
what-
like yours.
Listen, I'm not here to debate. I'm here to show you that the God of the Bible is real for you to believe in
Okay.
him.
So check this out. This is 1 Kings 7:23. Then he made the molten sea. It was round, 10 cubits from brim to brim and 5 cubits high. A line of 30 cubits would encircle it completely. So this 10 cubits from brim to brim, we're told that it's round, so it's a circle. 10 cubits from brim to brim, that's the diameter. And then a line of 30 cubits would encircle it completely. So the circumference is 30 cubits. So we have the diameter of the circle straight across, that's 10. And then all around is 30. Now, pi, the value of pi is the all around divided by the straight across. So it's telling us that pi has a value of 30 divided by 10, that pi has a value of 3.
Okay, do you understand what's the value of a cubit?
You know the units are going to cancel, right? Pi is a unitless constant.
Yes.
This could be literally anything. It could be meters, it could be miles, it could be light years.
No.
The units are totally irrelevant.
1 cubic is 0.6 something, I believe.
Sounds great, champ. Do you think that changes anything?
It does if you have to do the calculations.
Okay. So
According to what the Bible says.
yeah, let's what a profound insight that was. Okay, so we got pi equals 30 cubits divided by 10 cubits. So of course, the cubits are just going to cancel because it's division. And we're left with 30 divided by 10
So you said a pi is what?
equals 3. So the Bible is
Yes,
claiming
and
that
that's
pi is
exact-
3,
Yes.
and that's false.
Okay.
So the Bible says something false.
And how would you know that?
Pi isn't 3.
But how do you know that that scripture is specifically talking about your?
That's specifically
thing,
talking about
did you-
what?
Did you read the scripture in context? Did you
Yeah.
understand what the writer is trying to tell us?
Okay, here's the quote posted. Then he made the molten sea. It was round. So because it was round, it was a circle. So we can use the formula for circles. 10 cubits
Yeah.
from brim to brim. That's the diameter.
Mhm.
That's straight across.
Yes.
And 5 cubits high. A line of 30 cubits would encircle it completely. 30 cubits is the circumference. Because pi is equal to circumference divided by diameter, it's saying that pi is equal to 30 divided by 10. So 3.
Okay, so 10 cubics is about 20 or something.
What units?
5 cubics is about 10
What units?
meterage. I think it's meters. I did my calculation on Noah's Ark. That's how I got to understand cubics.
30 cubits divided by 10 cubits equals, what is it? What's the 30 cubits equal to?
30 cubits, so you got to double it, and you get around 60.
For meters?
Yeah, it's 0.6.
I think it's actually the opposite. I think it's like 13.72.
Okay. 30 cubics.
Looks to be 13.72.
Okay.
And then,
That's 30.
yep. Yeah,
Okay,
which is
so
what
it's
30
actually half
cubits
of it.
is.
Yeah, I said it's 0 point something. 0.6, I believe. Or 0.5.
What unit?
Because if you look there, when you Google, when you convert it, there's a specific cubic for maths, and then there's a specific cubic for Bible, for the Bible stories.
Okay, we could do Bible
So-
cubit converter.
Yeah, it's different from the math cubics.
5, 6, 7 is 35.
Sure, we got wow, this is going to be some profound stuff. Check this out. So we got, the first one is 30 cubits, and then that gets us 13.72 meters. And then
Okay.
we have the 10 cubits, and that gets us 4.572 meters. But of course, I mean, we have to then convert the meters to cubits. So we end up getting that this 13.72 meters is 30 cubits, and the 4.57 meters. Well, that's let me check. That's 10 cubits. So then we have 30 cubits divided by 10 cubits equals 3.
I hear you.
So not the value of pi. So it looks like the Bible fucked it up.
No.
But pi isn't 3. This is false.
It's false according to you. Did
Do you
read
think
the-
pi is 3?
No.
Do you think 30 divided by
But do you
10
think-
is 3?
But do you think that this is talking about what you are saying is talking about? Did you read the verse above?
Yeah, it
Did you
says
read
it was
30?
round.
The old
Yeah, I
time?
do think it's talking about a circle. And then it says, a line of 30 cubits would encircle it. So it's round, and there's something that would encircle it. I suspect it's a circle.
Okay. I'm going to look at my Bible right now, right?
Yeah.
Because see, that's what you guys do. You guys take scriptures out of context.
We
Guys
totally
don't
do.
read the whole chapter. No, exactly. That's what you do. You take scriptures out of context. You guys don't read the whole chapter.
Yeah, this is
Because
a
you
really
find
riveting
anything-
chapter too. This chapter is exciting. It's like
Yeah.
a sexy chapter where you get all the dimensions and like lists of all the shit that what King Solomon made.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
you
it's
guys pick on
you
God.
get like
That God killed the firstborn Israel Egyptians.
was this
You guys
argument
come
too
up
hard?
with all this stuff. No. Listen. It's easy. It is absolutely easy, and you want to disprove God by one math sum. That doesn't disprove God, my friend.
But it would
You
at least
cannot
have to be
disprove
something that's
God.
false in the Bible.
No, it ain't false until you read the whole chapter, the whole verse, and understand what the writer is saying. Understand what Samuel is trying to say here. That's
Yeah,
what
go
we
for
need to
it.
understand. That's
Yeah,
what we need to
tell
understand.
us. Tell
the
us what he's
writer is
trying to
saying.
say. I'm excited to
well-
see how you're gonna try to wriggle your way out of this.
No. It's not wriggling away. It's something. It's like you reading the end of the book and making a conclusion on it.
So I
doesn't
can,
make sense.
in
That's not
fact, I'll read the
logical.
section because it sounds like you don't want to. So this is 1 Kings 7:23. Then he made the
Yeah,
molten
I'm going
sea.
there.
Oop.
I'm going there in my Bible right now.
Yep. Then he made the molten sea. It was round 10 cubits from brim to brim and 5 cubits high. A line of 30 cubits would encircle it completely. Under its brim were gourds all around it, each of 10 cubits surrounding the sea. There were 2 rows of gourds. Cast when it was cast, it stood on 12 oxen, 3 facing north, 3 facing west, 3 facing south, and 3 facing east. The sea was set on them. The hind quarters of each were toward the inside. Its thickness was a hand breadth. Its brim was made like the brim of a cup, like the flower of a lily. It held 2,000 baths. He also made 10,000 bronze statues. Okay, yeah, there it is. That's the whole section. Doesn't help you at all.
Okay, so it's talking about him building the temple, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
the temple had a different design, eh? It had different designs.
totally irrelevant. Not even close to relevant. Kind
And
of
the
like
architect is
baffling
different.
the
And the
extent to which
architect is
it's
different from our
irrelevant.
modern day. The architect is different from our modern day.
So what?
That is ancient architect,
So what? How does that
So
how
what
does
you
that
mean,
help
so
you?
what? So what do you mean, so what?
How does that help you? How does that get us
No,
closer to
because-
resolving this problem?
It does, because ancient architect cannot be calculated in modern day math.
Did they have different shapes back then?
Could be. How?
You don't think that they had circles back then?
No, they did. They did have a circle.
Okay. Do you think maybe
Yeah, but you gotta
maybe we could
understand.
identify which things are circles when they describe it as, it was round, this would
Yeah, but not all
encircle
circles
it.
are perfect. But not all circles are perfect.
No, I agree. Not all
So-
circles are perfect, but you'd have to
So-
do a pretty shitty job to get a circle where pi turns out to be that.
Well, unfortunately, they
fact-
didn't have the computer to design the temples. They did it all by hand.
I wonder.
They didn't
What
have a
would you?
machine. They didn't have a machine who designed the temple, so your arguments goes out the door. Anything else you want to say that the Bible's lying about?
Yeah, when it
Because
says that it's like round and that it encircled it, is that misinformation? Is it inaccurate?
no, it's just
Oh,
it's
okay,
just
so
their
it is
way of
accurate. So
describing
it is.
something.
Wait, what shape is it?
It's their way of describing something in their time,
Yeah.
according to what they saw.
Do you want to go back to the Hebrew? I wonder maybe the Hebrew will help you.
Okay.
1 Kings 7:23 Hebrew.
I'm trying to get my Hebrew Bible out as well. I can't seem to log in.
It was, oh, this is so sad, dude. Apparently the Hebrew is literally, it was perfectly round. That is like genuinely devastating. That's too bad. Oof. Awkward. It was perfectly round is the Hebrew. Oh no.
Perfectly round,
Oh no.
perfectly round, like in our day,
Yeah,
perfectly
yeah.
round, or back
Oh,
in that
fucking
day.
brutal. Yeah. All he means by perfect is like it was aight. It was okay.
Yeah, it was. Remember, they spoke ambiguously back in Bible days. If they said they killed everybody, it doesn't mean they killed everybody. It said that
Listen,
they
I know
killed a lot of
you're like
people.
stumbling over yourself to do like genocide apologetics, but let's just stick with this one.
No, man. No,
You
no,
know,
no,
if
no, no.
if what they meant was perfectly round, what would they have said?
So what you trying to say? God made a mistake.
Yeah.
That's exactly, and that doesn't prove your point.
It
That
does.
doesn't prove your point.
Apparently it
that
was
that made
perfectly
him,
round.
for you, that disproves that God made a mistake.
Are
That
you saying
listen,
that
it
that
doesn't
the
exist.
circle was actually imperfect?
I don't care what the circle was.
I
It
care what the
doesn't bother
circle
me one
is.
bit.
I
Why?
grant that.
Why?
It's because you probably don't care
Why?
about like truth.
No, but if you want to care about truth, then you should care about all truth,
I do.
not
Do you care
certain
about
truth.
all truth?
Yes, I do care about
Do you
all
care
truth.
about
I
this
do.
truth? Do you care about how it says
It
that
doesn't
it
matter
was
to me.
perfectly okay, so you don't care about all truth.
No, but it doesn't
You don't
matter
care
to
about the
me.
contradictions that are present in your God's divine properties. You don't care
Okay,
about the science that
how is a
disproves the
circle?
creation story. And you don't care about the internal inconsistencies between basic mathematical facts and your Bible. You don't
But
care
how is
about
that going to
truth.
help me? How is that going to help me in my daily life? A circle.
It's going to allow you to evaluate whether or not the Bible is true.
Oh, just based on one circle.
Yeah.
No, man.
If
Bro,
the word
that's
is perfectly round, then we should expect a perfectly round circle.
for you. It must be perfectly round, not
Why
for
would they
me.
give the dimensions if they weren't able to give them accurately?
Like I explained to you,
I think if
back
I
in
were God,
biblical
I would
days.
just have omitted those.
No, he does it for a reason. There's a reason why it's there.
Which is what?
Everything.
To dissuade people with like basic math mistakes?
Listen, like I explained to you, the architect back in that day and the architecture back in this day is totally different.
Perfectly
Totally different.
round. It was perfectly round.
What the writer is trying to tell us is that it looked good.
Nope. I think that what they're trying to tell us is that it was perfectly round.
But the point I'm trying to make to you is that how is that going to help me as a Christian? Because now you picked up a fault in my Bible now, right? Now, what it does to me now as a Christian, what it does to me, what it must do to me now as a Christian, because you found the fault now. You said that it's not pi. What it must do for me now?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm
I
asking
think at
now
the
you're
very
saying,
least you
listen,
should probably give up biblical inerrancy. I think that you should you should eat the piece of humble pie that all of the well-respected Christians ate like 200 years ago and say, yeah, some of this stuff is metaphorical. Not all this stuff is literal.
we know that.
Do you? Because
We know
you're
that.
here
God
defending
speaks that way.
you're here
God
defending that
speaks
the
that
earth
way.
is like 6,000 years old.
Because that's what God told us.
Yeah.
I'm serious, bro.
This is like foolish.
You-
The reason
out
why
here
all the
disprove God, but
respected
you haven't
Christians moved
disproved
away
it.
from this is because it's indefensible. It's like obviously indefensible, and that's what you're running into over and over again is the sheer indefensibility of it.
You haven't proved to me that God doesn't exist.
Okay, I think I've proven it like 3 different ways, but
No,
listen,
you haven't.
I appreciate you coming on up here. I'm gonna move on to the next one. It's okay. Sometimes shapes are hard. Joe White, thanks so much for the super chat. Check out Referred Pain, Not Very Harmonious. Let me check that out. That's a great example, actually. This is like a really good example of psychophysical disharmony. So apparently it's pain felt in like a part of the body other than the one that's actually in pain. Other like it's pain felt not at the source of the pain. That's a great example of psychophysical disharmony, actually. This one's going in the paper. Skeptics and Scoundrels, thanks so much for Super Chat. Xbox Live, where children grow up into man children. This might actually explain why TikTok evangelists are the way they are. Skeptics and Scoundrels, thank you so much. It's great to see you as well. It was fun talking to you afterwards. Big W for Skeptics and Scoundrels. I don't know. It was a lot of fun on the line last night with you. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that maybe these TikTok evangelists would be better at rhetoric if only they were forged in the fires of Xbox Live. Miss Debbie, thank you so much for the gifted tier 1 Cool Quarry membership. Appreciate you. Binary Ghost, thanks so much for Super Chat. I don't think the Bible intended to make this derived pi. I believe these are basically approximate measurements. It's a story someone is relaying. I think that God must foresee that this is like a basic mathematical mistake. And in his wisdom, he would probably just not include it. That's my intuition on the matter, is that if I were God, I would just not include measurements because they don't add anything. Or at least you'd say it's like approximately this much. It's approximately that much. There's just ways to make it true, or otherwise ways to just not make it false. But as it stands, it's false. All right. If you're in that guest request box, make sure that you're 18 or older. Make sure that you believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. You can be a deist as well. That's fine too. And with that, we'll go to the very next guest. Hey, how's it
Hello.
going?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. How old are you?
I'm 19.
Yep. What religion?
I'm a non-religious theist.
Okay, sure. You're just like a theist. Sure. Yeah. What
Yeah,
makes you think God
Probably like a
exists?
minimal theist.
Okay.
Well, I'd take a couple arguments to succeed. The first of which, obviously controversial, is like the contingency arg from Weak PSR. I don't know if you're all
Ooh.
familiar with it.
Yeah, I'm like vaguely familiar with it. So here's the problem: is that it seems like weak PSR runs into, or like collapses into strong PSR, and
Yep.
then it seems like the contingency argument from PSR undergoes like a modal collapse. I think this is kind of a structural problem to all cosmological arguments. Is that so? In order for the contingency argument to work, you need to reason from the existence of contingencies to a necessity. But if you have a necessity, and the necessity necessitates something further, well, then that next thing is just also a necessity. So
Yeah, that's just like distribution over the conditional.
Yep.
I'm familiar with K. I mean, obviously, I would contest that with some like agential willing, like separate from God's will to God's willing. I'd say the classical move to preserve design simplicity in some sense. But
divine simplicity?
Sorry, without preserving divine simplicity. So I'm pretty happy to see it if you're not going to affirm weak PSR. I just think that's quite costly. Like not affirming weak PSR, and I also don't think I've read Oppie's paper on it collapsing into entailing strong PSR. And I kind of hold Prosser's view that I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. If it doesn't lead to the modal collapse, then so what?
Ooh, I think the modal collapse is probably. I haven't read too deeply on this literature. I'm currently working on like a paper with like a philosophy of religion professor.
What's his name?
I'm not going to share that on live. But
Okay, sorry. No,
yeah,
sorry.
he has. He runs like a well-known atheist blog. But
Okay. I mean, could I maybe run the arg and just see what you think?
Yeah, go for it.
I think it's unlikely either of us are gonna, come away from this conversation radically changed regarding our beliefs. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's just interesting
Well,
to run the arg.
Yeah, so I was like personal info dumping because I'm like mad autistic. But no, I was just mentioning that what the paper's about. I argue basically that all cosmological arguments undergo like a type of collapse, like a type of modal collapse similar to this one. That
I
for
like strict
example,
necessitation.
no. So every cosmological argument requires two categories of thing. They require like the divine thing and then like the worldly thing. Like for example, in the contingency argument, the divine thing is necessity, the worldly thing is contingency. My argument is that all of the cosmological arguments collapse into like a one category thing. So in the same way that the cosmological or like the contingency argument allegedly collapses into all necessity, I argue that the Kalam collapses into like all eternality.
Oh,
That-
I do not affirm Kalam. Do not worry.
No, you're good.
I am not William Lane Craig. But so as I said, I'll just run the argument and just see what you think. Obviously, if you don't affirm weak PSR, I mean, I'm sure you acknowledge
I'm
that
an
that's quite costly.
Assessorian. You should probably know.
Ah, okay. Well, then that kind of defeats the point of running the arg. I'm not going to contest that.
Yeah.
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 In that case, I'll probably swap to some like Plantingan modal ontological argument, all theists' favor.
Sure.
So this isn't even an argument for the existence of God. It's just an argument for the rationality of God, as I'm sure you're aware. So, pretty premise one, it's possible God exists. Conclusion, God exists.
Sure.
Via S5.
Based.
Yeah.
So-
yeah. So yeah, I'm interested. You're probably going to run Oppie's argument. So
I don't know if this is Oppie's argument. I might know it best through Schmidt, but I mean, I think like there's kind of two problems. Is that one? It seems like you might want to say that there are like some arguments for thinking that indeed, like God exists by contingency. I know like Swinburne holds a view like this, that it's more morally
Really?
praiseworthy for God to exist by contingency. He either thinks that God exists contingently or that God's like omnibenevolence is contingent. I forget which one it is.
yeah, I mean, I've only read his like Bayesian case for theism, so I'm not really super familiar. I know he sort of appeals to like it being more parsimonious, that he's morally perfect, but I guess that means it could be contingent. Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah. Apparently he does think that God's existence is contingent. I think the reasoning
Wow.
is something
I
like
did not know that.
it's like more praiseworthy because it guarantees that there's like genuine free will to choose evil.
That is such a trap. Anyway,
Yeah, I think
That's
it's
so
kind of
problematic.
crazy, but yeah, it's kind of implausible, but so it goes.
yeah.
Sure. So that's one. I obviously like I think I already mentioned the parity argument that it's possible that God doesn't exist, but if God exists, then he
Yep.
exists in all possible worlds. Therefore, God wouldn't exist, and it doesn't seem like there's a
Yep.
good symmetry breaker between these. The last
I would contest
thing-
that. I think there is a symmetry breaker. Which
Okay.
I'll
The-
let you finish first.
The last one, maybe I'll weasel out this way. It doesn't seem like there is a modal metaphysics that could accommodate the modal ontological argument that would
Mm.
preserve God's like aseity. If he's a necessary being and you have
Yep.
like some sort of like, I don't know, like modal realism view where all the possible worlds are actual worlds.
Yeah, I'm
well,
not
then he
David
would-
Lewis either.
Yeah.
I don't affirm modal realism.
Yeah.
And you don't need to for the ontological argument. You can just run some sort of ersatz word, or even just use them as linguistic convention. So
Sure. So then I guess like what would be, so if you ran like the ersatz view, you're saying that our modal language is like an abstraction of something, but what is it an abstraction of?
I'm saying the abstract counterfactuals.
Okay. I guess like what's
So
the,
sorry, not the traditionally ersatz view. Sorry, I wasn't affirming that. I'm affirming some sort of ersatz realism. I'm probably
Damn.
like a non-Lewisian modal realist. So like non-concrete, but they're still they still exist as abstract
Yeah.
counterfactuals.
no, I just, oh wait. Oh, so are they like abstract objects that exist mind independently or are they like mind dependent?
Mind independently.
Mind independently.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
well then it seems
I'll
like
give the
God's
symmetry
necessity
breaker
would
to
depend on
Oppie.
those,
On what? It's mind independent.
on these like abstract objects.
What? Well, no. It's via like Kit Fine. Essence is prior to modality, so we're kind of fine with that.
So you're saying, okay, so the Kit Fine view
Are you
is
familiar
the,
with the Finean argument?
I'm familiar with Fine's, like vaguely with Fine's work on essence. This isn't like a
Yeah, I
dependence
mean-
argument. Well, actually, no, because under
it
Kit
just-
Fine's criteria for dependence, this would, if God's essence includes necessity, then this would
Yep.
mean that his essence is dependent on these counterfactuals.
Nope. The essence is prior to modality. That's
The
the
essence
whole
is
point
prior
of
to modality.
19. Yeah, essence is prior to modality. I can give the argument for that if you're interested.
It's
but
like
it's like
that's
the
fine. Maybe I'll
Socrates singleton
grant
set
it
one.
and hear what your symmetry breaker is. I'm not
Cool.
super deep on that argument, but yeah.
Yeah, no worries. As I said, it doesn't even establish whether there's a God. It just establishes it's rational. But I think the symmetry breaker I find most convincing is that, are you familiar with like the Plantingan modal essentialist structure, like that's required for the argument?
No.
Okay. Do you want me to pull up the definition? But it's
Sure.
it's roughly, X necessarily has X essentially has P if X has P in all possible worlds. That's like roughly the modal essentialist view. But I will pull it up quickly.
I'm familiar with this, although my understanding is that this is like pretty devastating counterexamples.
Okay. Well, as I said, it's like post-Finean. But
We're about to put
Go
this
ahead.
guy into the singleton set.
yeah, so that's Fine's argument, the Socrates singleton set.
Mhm.
So as I said, I've already seen. I take Kit Fine's view to be valid, and that's why I'm saying that I think essence is prior to modality.
Okay, sure. So in terms of, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble like tracing this all. So
Yeah, no problem.
you're saying that, so the X essentially has P if it has P in all possible worlds.
That's just the modal essentialist view.
Yeah.
I'm saying that the argument can. That's what Plantinga held to, I believe, in the original argument.
Sure.
So I'm saying that can still be adapted. Like the Plantingan structure can be adapted, like post-Finean, i.e., essence precedes modality, and it's just God essentially possesses necessary existence.
So they'd be saying like that's like the essence is that he possesses necessary existence.
Well, yeah.
Sure. Although I think
And obviously, you see why that would be problematic under the reverse, like modal ontological argument, because then you're saying God essentially has the property of non-existence. Sorry, not property, but you know what I mean.
no, because his essence would still include necessity. It's just that it's not actualized.
Elaborate.
That if God exists, he exists by necessity.
Mhm.
But he doesn't exist in all possible worlds, so therefore he just doesn't exist at all. Like,
Well,
okay,
under-
you might
under
be
S5
like, I'll give you like a similar example. Like, let's say that you're like a nominalist about like Platonic like mathematical objects. You could be a
Sure.
nominalist and say, if these mathematical objects existed, well, they would exist necessarily. That there's like something necessary in their existence. It just so happens that they don't exist.
Ooh, under S5, that would be incorrect as far as I'm aware, because there's no privileged possibility. So something being possibly necessary collapses into it being necessary.
I agree with that, but you'd want to say that its essence, like what you'd want to do is you'd want to say, if it exists necessarily. That there
Well,
still
if it's
is like
possible
that
that-
necessity in its essence, but it just so happens that its essence isn't instantiated. That it's like an all or nothing kind of deal, and it just so happens that it's
So you're saying
nothing.
that. So under that view, you can't really run the reverse mode ontological argument. You'd need to genuinely demonstrate a strict contradiction, because obviously the argument uses metaphysical modality. You'd need to pose some strict logical contradiction.
Wait,
in God's
what?
essence,
What?
which show, well,
It's,
because
it's unclear to me why that would be.
well, because you're essentially positing that for like this argument to succeed, I'm saying you would need to demonstrate that there's a contradiction between God. Sorry, I'm not tracking. Could you just repeat your yeah? Let's get
Yeah,
that.
yeah. If God
full argument down.
exists, then he exists necessarily. Therefore, God exists, and then the parity.
That's kind of not what the S5 is saying. I'm just gonna be really strict. Just
Yeah.
keep the semantic. It's just God is possibly necessary. God exists. That's kind of that's what S5 says, right?
So, to put it in like one premise, would you be saying like it's possibly necessary for God to exist?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'll be happy to collapse that. And I'm saying that in order to like affirm like the inverse of that, you need to show some relevant contradiction under metaphysical modality, showing that it is not possible. It's not possible.
So it is possible for God to not exist.
Yeah, and that's kind of the claim I'm challenging, right?
Exist, and then the way I'll lay out the argument. If God exists, then he exists necessarily. I know you don't like this version, but that's probably the
Yeah.
parody that I want to run. Therefore,
That's no problem.
God doesn't exist. So
I mean, do you acknowledge that they're strictly symmetrical?
that yeah,
Like, as in so that does, like, I mean, at least prima facie seem to show that we have rationality for like a theistic belief, right? Which is the whole point of what I take to be the point of the Plantingan mode ontological argument.
well, so I guess like here's like the unclear part to me is that I'm not sure why I would accept your premise one over my premise one.
Yeah, and I think I would say the opposite, and that's what my point. Like, it's ultimately rational for either of the arguments to go through.
I think that the reasonable thing to do in a situation like this was probably just be to remain agnostic on it.
Yeah, and that's why I consider myself an agnostic theist. to be
Sure.
exact.
Well, but even then, like, it's not clear why you wouldn't just remain like a strict agnostic and be like, yeah, I'm agnostic to it being possible for God to exist, agnostic for God, like it being possible for God to not
I'd say
exist.
it's more parsimonious that the modal essentialist like structure needed for the argument seems to fit. I think it's more parsimonious to say that God's essence would include sort of necessary existence than it is metaphysically impossible for God to exist. But I think those are not really symmetrical claims.
I might just
At
not
least
be
in my view.
getting it, but I thought the only claim that the atheist needed was that it's possible for God to not exist.
Yeah, but so when I'm like affirming under the Plantinga modal ontological argument, right? When I'm saying it is possibly necessary, we're using metaphysical modality, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So like to grant the inverse of that, at least the way it seems to me is you need to posit some sort of logical contradiction in order for that argument not to go through.
Well, I'm not sure why the same thing wouldn't apply. Like, if you're saying that it's possibly necessary for God to exist, then that just seems to be saying that God exists. So,
Sorry, repeat that. You cut out.
yeah, if you're saying it's possibly necessary for God to exist, then
Yep.
that just seems to be the equivalent of saying that God exists in the same way that me saying that it's possibly not necessary for God to exist would be
So that's
saying
why
that
I was
God doesn't
appealing-
exist.
So that's why I'm appealing to the modal essentialist structure. Like, I'm not really establishing that both arguments go through. I'm kind of almost appealing to like a probabilistic version, like of whether like under the essentialist view, would God's essence be more likely to include necessary existence or necessary non-existence?
Do you think that there's a problem with well, so here's the problem is that I'm not sure what the issue would be if God's essence included necessary existence and he just didn't exist. Like, what, there's a contradiction in the thing that doesn't exist? Like, I don't know why that's problematic.
Sorry, maybe I don't follow, but you're just saying you don't understand the contradiction between necessary existence and something not being instantiated under the domain.
Yeah, like where the contradiction would presumably be in the entity, but the entity is non-existent, so that's fine.
Maybe I must be not following, because if you see necessary existence, you're seeding existence across all possible worlds under S5. That's what S5 means.
That its essence would
Am
include.
I missing something?
Yeah, sure. That its essence includes, like, if it exists, then it exists in all possible worlds. And you're just saying that it doesn't exist in all possible worlds. That it's more of like a conditional claim.
I mean, that would then. Give the conditional?
If
write
God
the
exists,
proposition
I
down.
guess
I
it would,
must
just be
not be
premise, it
tracking.
would just be premise too. That if God exists, then he exists necessarily.
You would say that God could be contingent.
No, that if it would still be true if God exists, then he exists necessarily, even if he doesn't exist.
Oh, sure. So you're just denying the first claim, not of your argument, of mine. I.e., it's possible that God exists.
Yeah.
You're just affirming that.
Well,
Yeah, sure.
I'm saying I'm agnostic to it being possible, or it seems just as plausible to me that it's possible for God to exist as it's possible for him to not exist.
Yeah, and I'm kind of as I said, I'm pretty happy with that. But I think I don't think they're perfectly symmetrical, because as I sort of appealed to, under the like essentialist structure needed, one of the arguments is claiming God's like essence contains necessary existence, and the other is claiming, God's essence contains necessary non-existence. And I think, I think most theists would, or I think those aren't sort of considered perfectly symmetrical, like probabilistically, because what's the justification for God's essence containing necessary non-existence?
Wait, are you positing that necessity is like a property?
No, I'm not falling victim to Kant.
Yeah, yeah. I was wondering.
No,
because
it's just purely modal, right? It's a modal operator.
I'm not sure. Maybe you have like a theorist who talks more about this. It strikes me as being odd to say that something has like a modal property within its essence. These seem
It's
to
not
be
really.
like,
It's a modal operator, not a. It's a modal operator, not a like a. It's got like a predicate.
Sure, but then how are we including it in an essence?
What do you mean? How are we including modal operators in an essence?
So I can give you like the counterexample that like Russell gave to like Meinong, and you can tell me why that doesn't work. I don't know, like does the necessary square, is this the necessarily existent squared circle existent, or?
No, obviously not, because under metaphysical modality that poses a strict logical contradiction. So
Sure, but
that if we apply the same criteria to the modal ontological argument, obviously no atheist would be happy saying, well, there's a strict logical contradiction in the essence of God. It's a pretty hard claim to justify.
Yeah, I probably agree that you could, although
unless you run some like Cantorian arg or something, which I don't think they succeed. But
I don't either. I think that you could do like I used to run those arguments, but I think you can run like the class, the proper class, and that seems to solve it.
That's took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah,
I love that Grimm paper though. It's a very good paper.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan of it. Wait, sure. Is there like a
run
theorist?
that on some low tier theists?
I used to do that all the time. It's like that's how I traumatized Islamic Apex one time.
I don't know who that is. I'm not huge in the debate space. I'm just reading.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. But you said, was there like an additional argument that you wanted to talk about?
I take the Bayesian fine-tuning to succeed, at least in part, which is obviously contentious because I have to appeal to some like disposition in a disembodied mind, which any atheist will just say no. So, I'm not really going to run that arg, but I think you can see why it's rational to think that argument would succeed if you're at least agnostic to it.
Yeah, but then I think the puddle analogy comes in and really, really debunks it. No, I'm kidding. I think that there's like a disjunct. So I think probably like the best response that the atheist can give is something like a disjunct of views that would entail fine tuning, along with like something like Sinababu's like electrons and love response that God could create.
Like the axiarchic thing.
Yeah, that it seems like there's. I honestly probably think that there's. I think that there probably is like a. I think there probably is like some update in favor of theism. I just think it's like substantially reduced when you lay out like all of the cosmological models that would have fine tuning in them, and then also give reasons to think that it's strange that God would create us this way as opposed to electrons and love.
Yeah, I'd probably be pretty happy seeding that. But I think the only reason I brought it up is I personally think that the Plantinga modal ontological argument establishes like nothing but rationality for theism, and then I think the Bayesian fine-tuning case, at least as you said, it should cause some sort of rational updating. So I think at least that is why I'd consider myself an agnostic theist. The conjunction of those two args.
But then I don't know. I think the problem of evil is like just super rationally compelling.
So the one thing I really don't like about the modal ontological argument is that it assumes omnibenevolence is a great-making property, which I would deny because, as I said, I'm a sort of minimal theist. I don't grant omnibenevolence like perfect loving or any of that. I think what's called the evidential problem is evil.
Sure. So you don't affirm omnibenevolence?
No. I still think the Plantinga arg goes through without it.
Sure. Although you run into an issue though, which is that, well, okay. So this is kind of like the history of like perfect being theism, is that for a really long time, they just wanted to take like the maximum properties, and then it just
I'm
became
sound.
like more and more like untenable. That there are just
Yep.
perfections that conflict with themselves and each other, such that you need to start stripping things back. And
Yep.
it's kind of not clear to me how we would determine that a being is necessary, like that the perfect being is necessary, if it has like very restricted, like it has like very specific restrictions. It's not clear to me why it would be necessary.
I think it's just taking like the minimum like conjunction of properties needed, right? I think omnibenevolence, at least the way I see it, is always like an auxiliary premise which isn't really needed for the argument to go through. Like you can still make the argument structure just using even established just a necessary agent. I don't even need omnipotence or what's the other?
So here's a problem: is that
Omniscience. There we go.
is you could like reasonably argue that omnibenevolence follows from omniscience plus perfect rationality, that God knows all of the moral facts and he knows all of the moral reasons. He knows all the reasons that he has to take any action at all.
Yeah, I mean, I could just not grant rationality. As I said, I'm a pretty minimal theist, pretty agnostic to most args, so I pretty much just see the existence like a necessary first cause. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's going to run into problems, which is that it doesn't, you wouldn't be holding to like a perfect being at that point, would you?
What do you mean? Oh,
Like, do you think
I'm
that
still-
God
I'm
is like the maximum value of great making properties?
yes, but I'm saying omnibenevolence doesn't fall under that category. I think the argument can succeed without it.
Then you'd
But
also
pretty
need to
much
sever
kind
perfect.
of ad hoc because of the Bayesian like problem of evil. A little bit ad hoc, but I'm kind of happy to admit that.
Sure.
I don't,
It sounds then you'd have to like jettison things like omniscience and like perfect rationality. Are you fine doing that?
why?
Because
Well, I would have
if
to
God
see
knows
it.
all the moral facts and he's perfectly reasons
Mhm.
responsive from his, perfect rationality, then it just seems like he would always do the good thing.
Sorry, could we get a little formalization going? Just
Yeah,
to
we could do
see how
that.
that goes through. Also, sorry, like fair bit of warning. I'm probably gonna have to duck off soon.
That's okay. That's
It's
okay.
quite-
I'll
yeah, sorry
pretend like
about
you're
that.
running away from the argument.
Yeah, I'm
No, I'm
dodging.
kidding. Sure. So,
Dodge Vinity.
what the? This guy knows Dodge Vinity.
Indeed.
God is perfectly rational and all-knowing. If God is all-knowing, then God knows all the reasons that he has, or sorry, all the moral reasons that he has for action. If God is if God is perfectly rational, then he always acts on the reasons that he has for action.
Yeah. No problem so far.
Okay. Sure. So maybe like the gap would be something like establishing that the
the way
moral
I see it.
reasons are the reasons that. I wonder.
I mean, I'm
do you
it's
think
kind of
that-
hard because
yeah.
I'm a sort of a moral error theorist, right?
Oh, based.
So I think it's pretty hard to make any to appeal to some moral reasons.
So basically,
I think
you
you can
think
still be
you don't
perfectly
think
rational.
raping babies is wrong? No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I just think you sort of have to appeal to some sort of moral. You have to slip in a little moral premise to that argument, which I would just deny.
Sure. So you would just deny that there are moral facts.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So here's a problem that I think you're going to run into.
Yeah.
It's not. It seems like you would need to say that God's desires to create this specific form are finely tuned. Otherwise,
I
like
can
you
say that-
can't account for it with like.
I can say that it's
goodness.
rational. Well, I can just with like fine tuning, I can just say it's rational for God to want to bring about other rationally embodied life. I think that. Obviously, as I said, I'm appealing to some sort of disposition in God's mind, which is obviously never really easy to well, it's kind of impossible to justify. But I think that's like, at least on face value, it's pretty plausible. And
Sure.
it doesn't need like teleological goodness or anything
Oh
like that.
well, but that does seem to presuppose like certain like axiological facts within God.
About like as I said, I'm appealing to some disposition which I haven't established.
Oh, I see. I see. So then you would be saying
yeah.
that
I just
you'd be
think- I
saying
just
like the
think it
bridge
seems
thing is
reasonable.
that God has a disposition to bring about like things that are like
rational
him?
agents,
Sure.
or just rational agents.
Just rational agents. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's pretty. As I said, I'm a pretty minimal theist. Pretty-
okay. Sure.
I hold to very, very few positive notions. I
Yeah.
think that's one of them.
That would seem to just to because I do think like the Bayesian arguments, especially things like Bayesian fine tuning, are like battles of inches where you're kind of like stacking up
Yeah,
like a bunch
definitely.
of. So I do think it's probably worth flagging that you're baking into the hypothesis this disposition, but you're probably fine with that. I don't know. What do you think about like the Axiarchist stalking horse responses?
Well, like I think it feels a little bit ad hoc, personally. I've read was it Stornak? Who sort of posited the stalking horse on their Substack? I read the article on it recently. I remember what it is. I just think it feels a bit ad hoc. Yeah.
Wait, are you like a Substack person?
Sometimes
Do you
don't
publish? Do you
write.
write? Okay.
No.
Damn,
I mean, I have papers,
thought you
but
might
I've
be
never
the
published them.
I thought you might be the legendary Amos Woolen. All Brits sound the same to me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have papers, but I don't publish them.
Sure. Okay. This is a super interesting debate. Do you have anything else?
I found psychophysical harmony. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, well, we could do
Um,
psychophysical harmony. I think that there's like disharmonies that I don't see them in literature yet. I want to write a paper about this.
What psychophysical disharmonies, which would then make the datum unexpected on theism.
Yeah, I think you can run the
That's
argument
interesting.
reverse.
I haven't read any literature like that.
I don't think the literature
that'd be-
exists yet. I think it's like I don't think
I mean,
the
what Cutter's paper
literature-
came out in like 2023 or something, so
Yeah,
it's kind of unsurprising.
yeah.
I mean, I think if you're a property dualist, then you can kind of say psychophysical harmony goes through. At least, should cause a rational agent to update. But
So here's
I'm not a
I
property
think here's
dualist.
something that's quite strange. I think the idea needs more development, but a lot of the psychophysical disharmonies have like evolutionary explanations, which is just so weird under theism. Like I know theists are obviously going to be like pro-evolution or whatever, but I mean,
Yeah.
it just seems like God could like change the psychophysical laws at some point such that we're not like I don't know, like one of the humans have like tons of cognitive biases, obviously, but when we're reasoning from a cognitive bias, it feels like knowledge. Like I don't know, you'll be
Yeah, I get what you mean. That's like attacking what cognitive harmony.
the epistemic harmony, I think.
Well, I think cognitive harmony is a subsection of that.
Oh,
from
sure,
memory,
yeah.
but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the argument most relies on like the various like normative harmonies. I think
Here's
I like
another
I like
disharmony.
hedonic hanon. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, here's like a disharmonic or hedonic. We pursue things that we don't enjoy. We're like habitually even like I don't know. This is an embarrassing fact about me. Every single morning I wake up and scroll YouTube Shorts for like 45 minutes. Total waste of time.
Yep.
Don't care about any of those people. I can't stop myself from doing it.
And what's your point? That's sort of causing
It's
some
disharmonious.
physical state. Some physical state A applies to some mental state B, which and then what
The
sort of
feeling doesn't
bodily reaction C.
explain. The feeling doesn't explain the behavior.
Sure, but that's even if I sort of grant that, right? It's a Bayesian abductive case. So all the cases for other like hedonic harmonies, like I'm sure you're familiar with the pleasure, pain, aversion scenario.
Yeah.
And like the round object, blah blah blah. I mean, I could just take all of those and all the other possible like counterfactuals in which those ways could be configured and create a pretty compelling case, I think. For at least like, I mean, I don't know if as I said, I'm not a property dualist. So yeah, but I just thought that would be a fun way to
Yeah.
because as I said, I kind of got to go and like.
Yeah, no, I'm
7
sorry.
minutes
I have like one last thing to say about that. I think this probably
Yeah, go
runs
ahead.
into problems. I'm reading the book by Gregory Dowes right now, which is like
Oh.
the Theism and Explanation.
Yeah, I've had that on my list for ages.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
really
I
good.
watched,
It's like it's super clean. There's like zero fluff to it. It's so great. But
I watched the like Spassky, Jack and whatever his name is debate, and he brought up that book, and I'm mental. It's like $60 though. I do not have the funding for that.
do you know? Are you not on like Anna's Archive? You should just go to Anna's Archive and pirate the fuck out of that book.
I'm not. I'm on like a couple of the servers, but as I said, I'm not really huge into like debate comms, so yeah.
Yeah, it's a great. I don't know. I highly recommend it. But
What's
okay,
it called?
so
Anna's Archive.
yeah, Anna's Archive. It's there's also Z Library.
Thank you. I will go
Yeah.
and pirate it.
Yeah, be
I mean,
careful
I will
on
go
the
lawfully
specific site that you go to though, because
Acquire it. Yes.
yeah, of course, you know. Go
Cool.
go
I
onto
mean-
those websites to not get the book, but instead,
Yes,
morally
indeed.
judge the people on there.
I'm a moral error theorist. Watch out.
But
Right,
true. But okay,
as I said,
so
I
he
gotta
lays
go.
out like a critique. I know you have to go soon, but
Oh,
he
it's
lay-
okay. Cool.
yeah, he lays out like a critique,
Go ahead.
which is that if God's perfect, if he's all good, all powerful, all knowing, then we should expect like perfect optimality. We should expect like zero things that are suboptimal. And that theistic explanations should be considered like dead on arrival.
From perfect. That's just entailed from like
Oh
perfect
fuck! But you don't care
rationality,
about any of that stuff. Never mind.
right?
Yeah, you're good. Carry on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think what you're doing is good. Keep up.
Yeah, hey,
Enjoy
thanks.
debating some looters. Have a
Yeah.
good day.
Appreciate it. Yeah, this is fun. That dude was chill as fuck. I had a great time. That was a blast. Queerest Cowboy, thanks so much for the super chat. Is minimal theism just God of the Gaps, but of Phil LARP? I think one might say that it's like the more intellectually honest route. I definitely think that when you find people who are like just straight up Catholic because they were like born and raised Catholic, like typically that stuff is like the real like disingenuous hours. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's like reasonable if you're reading through the arguments for God and you find some of them too compelling that you'd start off as being like a minimal theist. That seems reasonable to me. But anyway, make sure you double tap it on that screen, share it with your friends, do all the good stuff as we go to the very next guest. Hey, if you want to join the reading group as well, we're reading Rosalind Hursthouse's On Virtue Ethics. We're reading it. The next one is going to be this Saturday at 7 p.m. What chapter are we on? One sec, let me check. Hold on. On Virtue. What the heck? Okay, there it is. Found it. The chapter is Virtue and Emotions. Chapter 5, Virtue and Emotions. It's going to be great. It's going to be a fantastic time. I think I'm leading it. If I'm not leading it, somebody tell me. All right. And with that, we'll go to the very next guest. If you're in that guest request box, if you want to debate, make sure that you're 18 or older. Make sure that you believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. You can also be a deist. Otherwise, I'm only going to have people who, one of them is a minor, I suspect, and then the other one, I don't know, maybe we'll get some real progress. Hey, how's it going?
Oh shit. Nope.
No,
Mistakes.
that's so sad. I'm pretty sure the last person in the guest request box is a minor, who's like 14 or something. So, hey, I currently have nobody that I'm going to debate requesting to join. So, if you want to debate the topic, now's your chance. You got to be 18 or older. Hit that guest request button. If you're watching this on some other platform, if you're watching this on YouTube, you want to debate the topic, you should download TikTok. It's TikTok. The channel is allegedly.ian. That's going to be great. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be so much fun. Yeah, no, not even a Matt GPT today. Don't even have Matt GPT. Isn't that sad? Isn't that like devastating, like genuinely tragic? Not even Carl after we bullied the fuck out of him. I was hoping that Carl would be around so that we could confront him on the fact that he's like literally evil, like a lying scumbag, but who's to say, right? Who's to say? I don't know. He's like genuinely like a despicable guy. I think hopefully Carl deleted all of his stuff. That would be like in a just world, Carl would delete everything, feel like a deep sense of like shame and humiliation. But other than that, I don't know. What should I do? What should I do? Does anyone have any questions? I can answer questions while we try to wait for a guest. Oh, thank fuck. Oh gosh. Hey, how's it going?
You gotta be more inflammatory, man.
I know, I do.
You gotta be more
Yeah.
raise
are you-
bait more.
You're not a
be more
theist, are
insulting.
you?
No, I'm not, to
Fuck.
be honest.
Okay. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, hello. What's
Yep.
going on? You know, how you doing?
Doing well. How old are you?
I'm 26.
Yep. And what religion?
I am Christian.
Yeah. What makes you think that God exists?
I think God exists because you're here. You're in a goddamn angel. I love you.
Oh, thanks. That's very kind of you. Are you actually a Christian? There's no way you're actually a Christian.
No, I am a Christian.
Okay. What are the
No, but I
first?
love you though.
What are the first? I don't know, 5 books of the Bible.
All right, so you got Genesis. You got hold on. Genesis. Mark, Luke, John. Mark, Luke, John.
You got to be trolling. You must be
No,
trolling.
no. I'm not trolling. No, I'm really a Christian.
Okay. What sort of evidence do you have that God exists? I guess I don't have better
God
options.
exists. God exists because you here. You the best. I love you.
Okay. That's very kind of you, but why wouldn't I exist if God didn't exist?
Because like, bruh, you say you the GOAT. You know what I'm saying?
That's very kind of you. But do you have
Hold on.
do you have real
Bro,
evidence?
Don't kick me
Do
though.
you
Don't
have,
kick me though.
I'm
Hold
probably
on. So
gonna
I
kick
see.
you.
Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna kick you. Hey, how's it going? Fuck. Damn. That is just so sad. Okay, well, back to nothing. You know, if you want to debate the topic, if you think that God is real, feel free to request to join. You got to be 18 or older. You got to believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. You can also be like a deist. If you're like a deist, that's probably fine too. But other than that, it would be super chill if you had like some reason to think that God exists. If you don't have like a reason to think that God exists, don't request to join. Whoa. Deism is cooked. Yeah, I do think that it seems like deism has like a hard time predicting what God would actually do. It seems like it's really difficult to make like predictions. Oh, that person didn't join. So sad. I rate that one 2 frowns out of 2. Hey, how's it going?
Yo, what's up?
Yep. How old are you?
I'm 18.
What religion?
I'm Muslim.
Okay. What makes you think God exists?
I just think miracles.
Which ones?
Like, oh, Ian, oh, I'm gonna fucking nut, Ian. Oh.
Okay. I'm not sure if that's a miracle. I think there's like a naturalistic explanation for that. Maybe it's the beard that I'm growing out. Maybe the data is expected under the beard. Hey, how's it going?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yep. How old are you?
Cool. I'm 25.
Yep. What religion?
It's not really a religion per se, I guess. It's
believe-
more of
You believe in God?
yeah. I guess I would say I would believe in God, but first, I guess we would need to agree on a definition for God.
I take God to be something like an ultimate mind, you know, like if you traced back like the chain of causation and the chains of like grounding, eventually you'd arrive at God. Like if you went back to like the first cause, you know, that would be God. If you went back to like, I don't know, like the fundamental entity, that would be God.
Okay, yeah, I think we can work on that.
Yep. And also that it has like a mind,
Right. What do you define as mind?
something that has like qualitative experience.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I can agree on that.
I don't know. Do you hold to, I mean, I guess like, what do you mean by God if you think that God exists?
Right. So if I would say God, I would basically mean, how do I best describe it? Like some sort of source. Like not an entity like you would imagine something outside of yourself or something that's separate of anything else, but more something like that holds everything together and encompasses everything, if that makes sense.
So the problem is that I'm not sure what differentiates your God from just like the sum total state of affairs of reality, just like all of reality.
Right. I guess it would be the connectedness between all of existence and
Yeah.
between all of consciousness.
I don't know what you mean by connectedness of all of consciousness, but I mean, I think that there are like very plausible ways that, you know, reality, some parts of reality constrain other parts of reality. Like I agree that there's like an interconnectedness there. But I mean, I don't know. I'm just not, that probably is too far away from God, but otherwise I might try to see if other guests are closer, unless you wanted to adopt like a mind for the discussion.
No, I mean it's fine.
Yeah. Hey, well, I appreciate you coming on up here. You seem nice enough. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, how old are you?
Hey, so I'm 29.
Yep.
I'm more in line with like deism, and I come at it from more of a phenomenological perspective. I believe in God because of the experiences I've had. You know, I believe in science as well. I think they're both lenses to like describe the same phenomenon.
So
and different phenomena.
when you say deism, do you just mean like you think that there is like a mind that created the universe, but you don't think it's like all good?
Yeah, definitely not all good. I think there's balance in good and evil for sure.
Okay. Here's something. Why would we expect anything in particular on this view? Like under theism, when God's all good, you would expect good things. You know, if God was all evil, you would expect evil things. But if God's like some mix of good and evil, it seems like this is compatible with like most configurations of the world.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't have to have expectation. You're presupposing that. But two, if you are to like have expectations, they should be based in alignment with like what you're perceiving. So if you expect something to happen, it should be because you're either working toward it or because you see, I don't know, the stars aligning, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. Like you can tell it's going to happen, therefore you expect it.
So here's the problem is that you definitely need to have expectations. So here's how evidence works. Something is evidence for something else. So a data point becomes evidence for a hypothesis when that hypothesis expects to see that data point. The hypothesis that it rained last night expects to see the data that it's wet outside. So the fact that it's wet outside gives evidence towards the hypothesis that it rained last night. So if you're saying that there are no expectations, if you don't expect anything on the basis of God's existence, then nothing could be evidence for it.
I have a hard time arguing with what you're saying, but I guess like the point for me isn't to prove that I know for sure that God exists in these like discussions, but to just tell people that based on my experiences, I think it's like worth considering that it could be, you know, true that God could exist, like more of an agnostic perspective. I don't like when I see God isn't real, it's a knowledge claim. And I don't think you can prove that God isn't. And I think when you're asking people to debate you, you are making a knowledge claim that you have to defend.
Do you want me to?
I think if you can prove outright in this discussion that God is not real, someone's going to give you an award for it.
Okay. Well, here's an argument. One of two things is going to be true. Either God is eternally creating or he's not eternally creating. Either he has created from eternity or he is not created from eternity. If God is created from eternity, well, then creation just exists from eternity. But at that point, God never creates it. So he's not actually a creator. The alternative is that God begins to create, but then God changes, so he's in time. And that means that he's not the creator of time. So either way, we end up with this problem, which is that on the one hand, either all of creation can't actually be brought into existence, it just always existed. On the other hand, you know, God doesn't create time, so he's not the creator of things like space-time, so he's not the creator of the universe.
I think when you're talking about God, like you're talking about potentially like all the highest God. Like I think there's people who like believe even from like a deist perspective that like God might have layers like at different dimensions, right? And so the God that you're talking about, are you talking about like the next God up or the highest God? Are you talking about like the entirety of creation?
It's like an ultimate mind.
An ultimate mind. Okay. I think you're presupposing that like certain things have to happen in order for God to be real, and I disagree with what you're saying. I don't
How
think
does
that God
this respond to the argument?
I don't agree that he either has to be eternally creating or not eternally creating. I think there
Oh.
can be fluctuation.
Well, then your position is way easier. You just reject logic at that point. That would be a contradiction if he's doing neither.
I guess I don't see the logic. You're telling me it's logic, but if I'm wrong, like, and I find that logic, I'll agree with you.
Okay, I mean, you should look up like the law of non-contradiction or like the law of excluded middle. It doesn't need to be one or the other.
I'm not educated on those things, so Jen, you might be helping me in that case. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep. Is there anything else?
That's it, bro.
Yep. Hey,
Appreciate it.
thanks so much for coming on up. On to the next one. Hey, how's it going?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. How old are you?
26.
Could you do me like a huge favor and move away from like the smoke detector?
Sure. You know I'm black, so we gotta keep that dead.
Okay. Yeah. How old are you and what religion are you?
I'm 26. I'm Christian. I don't really believe in the Bible too much though.
Okay. What makes you think God exists?
So basically I like to come at it at this standpoint. God is the essence of life, and he's also, or she, I don't really know, well, it is the ultimate creation of all.
The essence of life. So God is inside of me? God is inside of every life form?
Yes.
Okay. Is God all good?
Yes, but technically no, if that makes sense.
It doesn't. In fact, it seems like contradictory.
Yes, it's very contradictory, but God in itself is a contradictory thing, because in order to have
Granted.
good, evil has to be there, so people know what good is, if that makes sense.
So here's the problem is that contradictions are false. If your God is contradictory, that means that your God doesn't exist. In the same way that like a square circle doesn't exist. There isn't a circle that is also a square. It's contradictory.
There is. In the fourth dimension, there is.
There isn't. In the fourth dimension, there isn't.
Yes, it's called a tetragram.
You're telling me if I look up tetragram, it's going to be a squared circle in the fourth dimension?
Yes.
Not seeing it.
Tell me your standpoint. I want to hear where you're coming from, because you're really defensive. I just want to hear your argument real quick.
Did you just like make that up?
No, I think I might have said the shape wrong.
Okay. You know, for some reason I suspect that there isn't like a thing that is there's no shape that has sides but
It's-
also no sides.
It's like constantly moving. I really forgot what it's called. It's like a fifth dimensional or fourth dimensional shape.
Are you
It's
thinking of like a
constantly moving.
tesseract?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. Yes, that's
Like
the
from
word.
that one book? A Wrinkle in Time.
Yes,
It's
yes,
a good
yes,
book.
yes.
I read it in like 4th grade.
Yeah, it was a good book. I read it, I think, in 5th grade.
Okay, this is a fourth dimensional cube. It's not a circle.
But you know how it's constantly moving? Because we can't say it's a cube because we don't know what it is. That's basically my whole point. You're trying to say a shape from like a different perspective. It's not in your universe or your dimension, so you don't know how to identify it because you don't. It's like a second dimension person seeing a whole tree. They wouldn't be like they're gonna be like, whoa, this shit doesn't exist because I'm sorry.
That's
But
okay,
yeah,
you
they're
can
gonna
swear.
okay. They're gonna be like, this doesn't exist because they have never seen something in that world. You see what I'm saying?
Sure, although I don't know how that helps you. I mean, if you reject that contradictions are false, I mean, at that point you're just rejecting logic. But maybe you're okay with
funny.
that. Maybe you don't care about rejecting logic.
No, I like logic. It's just that a lot of things that we claim are logical, we don't really know the whole science behind a lot of things because I feel like a lot of our ancient history was erased. So you coming here and saying God isn't real, that gives you enough precedence to have a argument with people because we have different standpoints of what God is and what God should represent. But at the end of the day, the fact that we're here is proof of God.
No, it isn't. Why wouldn't we be here? Let's say God doesn't exist. Why would we then not be here?
If God didn't exist, I don't think a universe would exist because something needs a creator. That's
Does God need a creator?
Yes, God needs a creator.
So you believe in an infinite regress of gods? Does the entire infinite regress of gods, does that need a creator?
Just to go back to what I said when I said God's the essence of life. So God is basically inside all of us, right?
Well,
So-
wait, can I just get an answer to that question? Because I think that that's going to lead to places. So
Yeah.
let's take all of the creators, the entire set of creators. So you believe that God is a creator and that God is a creator. There's like this infinite regress of creator gods. Let's take all the creators and put them in a set. Does that entire set have a creator?
Yes, essentially.
Okay, and is the creator itself in the set of all the creators?
Okay. I'm gonna explain it to you just because we're gonna go over this infinitely.
I just
So-
want to. It's like we're nearly at the point. I just want to know: does
The
the entire
creator
set
is-
have
the
so the
creator
entire
is the
set has a
created.
creator? But is that creator in the set of all creators?
The creator will become the created and then go back to becoming the creator.
Does it get created? Does the creator get? So okay.
We're saying created too much.
does the creator create itself?
Yes.
Do you think a thing can create itself?
Yes.
That's gibberish. You think something came from nothing?
That's what. Okay. I don't think that. That's what you think.
You just said that you think that the creator can create itself, so it didn't exist, and then out of non-existence, it enters into existence.
No. I said the creator will create essence, and then the essence will create another thing. So it's like once I'm just gonna explain where I'm coming from because I think you're a little confused.
I
So-
am, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I'm saying God essentially created the universe, right? We are in the universe. When we die, I feel like we're going to go into wherever, and then our souls are going to create another universe, essentially making us gods, and then we're going to connect to a higher level,
Whoa.
and then we're all going to be gods.
You know what religion you would love? You would love
What?
Mormonism. I think this is basically what the Mormons believe.
I don't know. I think I'm more of a I
Although,
like reincarnation more.
Based on what you've told me so far, I also think that you probably have good reason to not be Mormon.
Yeah, I'm a more reincarnation type of person. So I feel like you know how people say like the Big Bang Theory and how it's just two particles and they create a universe and shit like that.
No,
I think you don't believe in the Big Bang?
I don't believe that the Big Bang says anything about like two particles. I think what the Big Bang states is that there was like this hot dense state and then it rapidly expanded.
Yeah, but in order for it to rapidly expand, there has to be a combustion, right?
No, my understanding is that it's a rapid deposit of energy into various dark energy fields.
Energy has to come from somewhere.
Why?
'Cause that's
it can't be created or destroyed. Why would I think that it came from somewhere?
Because in order this is a whole nother thing, but so essentially the Big Bang is two huge particles that came to each other and exploded, and then the explosion of the two particles is the expanding universe that we know today. That is
No.
the Big Bang.
Nope, incorrect. Let's look at a survey
Yeah,
of
let's look it up. Yeah.
cosmologists. So this
Yeah.
was a recent survey of cosmologists. They were asked, what's the deal with the Big Bang? What does the Big Bang theory say? The majority opinion of them, 68%, the Big Bang is the theory that says that the universe evolved from a hot, dense state that says nothing about whether there was an absolute beginning of time or not. The Big Bang makes no claims at all to being the beginning of things, only that there was a rapid expansion. Doesn't make any claims about being two particles that collide into each other, just that there's this hot, dense state that rapidly expands.
So essentially that makes my claim even stronger, to be honest.
Please elaborate.
Because that would entail that there was something before the universe.
No, the opposite. It would entail that the Big Bang provides no evidence for thinking that there was something before the universe.
Why you say that?
because it doesn't claim to be the beginning. If the Big Bang was the beginning, then there would be
Right.
something before the universe. You know, that would be pretty devastating for the atheistic position.
Mm.
But
Mm.
unfortunately, I mean, you know, it says the opposite.
I like the evidence you provided for that. It was very nice. It was very nice.
Yep.
So, okay, I'll give you that one on the Big Bang. I wasn't privy to that, but okay, cool. That doesn't really change the fact that I think God did all that.
But why? With what evidence?
Like I said, we are the evidence. We are the evidence.
But why wouldn't we exist if God didn't exist?
Because the whole creation of the universe wouldn't have happened. Because even if you think about it on the simulation theory standpoint, right? The person who created the simulation would essentially be our God, no?
Sure, but why would I think that the simulation is true?
Because it's a 0.0001% that is not true.
Why? Why would I grant?
Yeah, there's like a 1 in a billion chance that we're not in a simulation.
Oh, are you getting that number from somewhere specific? I mean, you know,
No, it's a real stat.
there's a 1 in an 8 gugillion odds that we're not in a simulation. Why would anyone believe that we are?
No,
There's
it's
1 in
actual
1
stat.
faptillion odds that we're not in a simulation.
Oh no, it's an actual stat. It's an actual stat. It's just
Says
I'm
who?
just saying. Oh, it's all the scientists. I did
Okay.
I did a whole research
Are you sure?
on
I
this when I was
I
in
was
college.
consulting with all the scientists just the other day, and they said the opposite.
What'd they say? They said
They
that.
said the
what'd
opposite.
They, say? I'm
They said
actually
the
curious.
opposite of what you said. You know, they said no. They said everything that you said, and then they said psych.
You're for real?
Yeah, I met with all of them. That's what they said.
Okay. Well, I'm wondering why they would say that, because it's the way the intricacy of humans and life in of itself is extremely hard to do. That's why aliens. We're thinking about how aliens might not exist, and the Fermi paradox and stuff like that. So that's why it's a high chance that there is a simulation.
Well, I think
Which is also-
there's a high chance that there are aliens. I think that there's like basically zero chance that there's a simulation. I said that there's a high chance that there's aliens, right? Not that there's a high chance that there's a simulation.
Mhm.
There's a high chance that there's aliens. There's basically no chance that there's a simulation. Just because of this,
What do you
it
mean?
would take too much processing power to render the quantum results that we're obtaining.
But you're thinking of it in our terms. You have to think about it in other dimensional being terms,
Why would I think
They're-
that there
they-
is the other dimension?
because that's proven.
By who? Says who?
CERN.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man. Let's consult. Let's
consult
consult
this
our,
guy.
our CERN person. Hey,
Yeah.
Quantanaut, did they prove other dimensions?
I was actually just talking to the president of science, John Science, and he did actually say that there's a 1 in faptillion chance that we aren't.
No,
in
get
a-
him out of here. Get him out of here. No, I'm kidding. I didn't hear his results. Where is he? Come back, Quanta.
Oh my gosh. That was funny.
I'm sorry. I had an emotional reaction. Please continue.
Yeah, no. Particle colliders like CERN or the Relativistic Heavy-Ion Collider have seen actually the opposite, that there is no evidence that there is extra dimensions, despite us looking very hard for them.
Mm.
One of the signs that there might be extra dimensions, if there would be one, is that we would expect gravity to be unexpectedly strong on small scales, but we have not observed this.
Because they're in the unobservable universe.
Ah, gosh.
Then we wouldn't observe it, and then we wouldn't have evidence for it.
Exactly. I think that's what black
How
holes
would
are.
we have found it?
We are essentially in a black hole, Quant.
That's just false. Where did you hear that from?
Certainly is an assertion.
Yeah, that's what I believe. I think that's the only reason we haven't.
What kind of AI generated TikTok videos are you hearing this?
No.
from?
I actually like, I actually like to look at things and research. I don't like AI stuff. So I'm just giving you guys, my thoughts on why God is real. I love to hear all these counter arguments. I love them. I like to have the debate. But I'm basically just saying that God is real.
But you said like a lot of very obviously false
did.
things about the state of science. So I just want to know like where you heard these from.
Google. I know it sucks. but-
Google is not a source, my guy. It's a search engine.
I clicked on the links and stuff. And I did the research.
Well, yeah,
I have
where did the links
paperwork.
take you? That's what I'm asking.
I know. I would go back, but I don't
Like-
want to. I don't want to like cancel,
on the
exit off
top
live.
bar of your little search engine, it'll say www.something. I want to know what that something was.
I can't look at it right now, unfortunately. Maybe if I go to my laptop, but I don't feel like it. But Quant, that's your name? I could call you Quant?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're basically telling me that other dimensions don't exist, right? And the Big
We
Bang.
have no evidence to believe that other dimensions exist, besides the 4 that we can see.
But if we could see, that's the whole thing, though. That's the exact. If we could
Damn.
see
If
four
other
dimensions,
dimensions did exist,
we could
if
see
other
4 dimensions.
did
So why?
exist,
Yes. Okay.
if other dimensions did exist, in theory, we should be able to detect them in some way.
But if we
For
don't
instance,
have
as
the
I mentioned-
technology, okay, yes, go.
As I mentioned, we would expect gravity to be unexpectedly strong on small scales. We have tested this, and that does not seem to be the case.
Okay, can you explain that test to me real quick, please?
Put your mouth around it.
That was weird.
It was, yeah.
Can you explain that test for me?
Yeah. The idea is that gravity essentially, if other dimensions exist, gravity would leak into those other dimensions, which is a potential explanation as to why gravity seems to be so weak in our universe. But when you get to extremely small scales where these extra dimensions might become more relevant, you would see that extra gravity that was leaking into those other dimensions.
Oh, I found it.
In,
Fuck.
like, particle
Okay, wait.
colliders.
Let me put this in terms that you'll understand. There's no evidence for the things that you believe. People AI generated some slop and you believed it. All the things that these people told you are false.
No, this is
You got to do the AI voice.
No, but-
Scientists say that.
You guys, okay, let me just say something to you guys. Okay, so Quant, where did you get this information from? Did you test it yourself?
Not myself, but I do work on particle colliders, and I have worked on a CERN project.
Okay, so perfect. So let me ask you this: if we could see, right, the other 4 dimensions,
Other
What-
4? Or you talking about just the current 4 that we know
the current 4. I'm sorry, the current 4. Yeah,
about? Okay.
right. We could see those, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How can we see those? That's the gravity thing you told me, right?
No, those are just the normal dimensions that you can like walk in. You can go forward, back, left, right, up, down,
Right.
and forward through time.
Right. So I believe, say we're in the 4th dimension, right? So I'm thinking.
No, we're not in the 4th dimension. We're in all 4. There's 3 space, 1 time.
Got you. So the 5th dimension we wouldn't be able to test it in any way because that would be time, and I feel like that would also be gravity. Those are
The 5th dimension, gravity.
I think.
No, gravity
can-
exists in 4-dimensional space-time. That's what Einstein was sort of famous for.
Gravity is a force. It's not a dimension. It's just a force.
I
Maybe
understand.
it has
So what-
something to do with space.
I feel like in the 5th dimension,
space-time and the geometry
time
of
is
it,
not
but it's
gonna
just
mean-
a force.
time doesn't matter in the 5th dimension, though. So
The
we
fuck are you
keep
talking
about
about?
dimensions like they're a thing. Like there's no the 3rd dimension or the 2nd dimension. That's not like a thing.
It is
There's
a
a
thing.
number of dimensions, but there's not like an ordering to them.
So what? Okay, so two-dimensional objects. You don't think that two-dimensional objects? We don't. You so okay. Let me slow down. So you don't think? So this is. I'm gonna just tell you what I think. Fuck it. I
Please.
think. I think that every dimension has a space of life, and then that life doesn't know that there's a dimension above it because they can't access it.
Mm.
It's like something that's out of this world for them. They can't even comprehend like the different dimensions.
But
and
you
I feel like we're
comprehend
stuck
it.
on that.
So,
Yes,
so that
because
can't be true, right?
no,
Because if
because
what you were
we're
saying
trying
is
to
true, then you
prove it
wouldn't comprehend
logically.
it.
But you don't comprehend it.
You just said that you comprehended it. So,
I
but your
do.
hypothesis is that we wouldn't comprehend it. So then your hypothesis is false.
No, I'm saying the scientific comprehension. Like, the tests and he's talking about the gravity. We
How we
can't
figure
test
out
that
true things
for
about the
fifth
world.
dimension. We can't. Yes, we can't test that about the fifth dimension
Except
because
we
it's
can,
time.
as I've
We can't
mentioned.
exit time. We can't
No,
exit time.
it would not be time.
It would. In the fifth
A- any-
dimension,
any-
time is not
Any theoretical model that
right.
adds extra dimensions, those are always spatial dimensions.
Yes. So what's the next spatial dimension if we could do everything in this
It would
dimension
just be another spatial dimension. It doesn't.
that
It's
we
not like we
can't
have a name for
comprehend?
it.
That we can't comprehend. That's what I'm trying to say. We can't
The math
comprehend the next
about
spatial
dimensions
dimension.
is actually pretty simple. You just
Okay,
add another
so
letter.
tell me what's the next space in the fifth dimension? What's the next
I
spatial?
mean, do you want like a word for it? Because actually, what's funny is that there is a word for directions in the fourth spatial dimension. We
Well,
call
how
it
about-
Anna and Kata.
How about we do something that's like way simpler? Guest, what do you think a dimension is? Like just like in general, like how would you define dimension?
I would define a dimension as I don't really have a definition. I could explain what it means. I think a dimension is what we're able to do, what we're able to see in this state of the world.
Extraordinarily false. Yeah, dimension
not
is
false.
something like a line
tell me.
whereby it has enough points such that it's well defined like continuously.
Specifically, we consider it a degree of freedom.
Right. So, okay. Thank you for the definition. I really just
in
needed
the
that.
same way that you can like define where a point is by its XYZ coordinates.
Mhm.
If you were to add another spatial dimension, you would just add another letter. So it's XYZ I, for example.
Right. And so yes, we add another coordinate, but would we know what that does? That's what I'm trying
Yeah,
to say.
we
Okay,
have a
tell
pretty
me.
good idea of, as I mentioned, we would expect gravity to be stronger on small scales.
But we're expecting that, but I don't think it's that. So we're probably testing it
It
wrong.
goes back. Oh, okay. Wait, why is it not that?
Because one
TikTok lolcow disproves. I don't know. Like, quantum
String
physics.
theorists?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys are hilarious. I know I'm funny too, but you guys are actually funny. But I'm basically asking Quant to specify the space and the stuff that would happen in the fifth dimension. That's all.
As I said, it would just be another degree of freedom.
Yes, and
And
what
one
would
way
that
to
freedom
test
be?
that is that gravity could be leaking out into that extra dimension in a sense. And so when we test gravity on very small scales, we would expect that it would actually be stronger than it otherwise would if there was only 3 spatial dimensions.
Okay. And I'm basically telling you that gravity wouldn't exist in those other dimensions because
Why not?
because this is oh my gosh.
What's so special about those dimensions compared to ours? It's all
Because-
spatial.
It's all spatial, but those dimensions, time is different.
No, time exists in all of them. Like you add all the dimensions together.
No, time
To get
was
a-
created by
It's a
humans.
single manifold. That's the thing.
Time was created by humans.
No, that's not true.
It is. Stuff
It's not created any more than space is created.
right. But we created the idea of time. Didn't we?
You're confusing like the map for the territory, I think.
But I'm trying to tell you it's all connected, bro. Like it's all connected and we're so
By physics.
narrow-minded in this quantum physics world, we're so narrow-minded that you guys aren't
In this
testing
quantum
other
Don't you?
things.
Do you think, Guest, have you looked into any of this stuff particularly deeply?
A little bit.
A little bit. What's
And you
the?
could tell me.
Just
you could-
wait.
okay.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
What's the value
What's
of
up?
G?
Say that again.
What's the value of G?
The value
Like
of
when you're
G.
doing like gravity calculations. Like what's
Right.
the value of G?
Should specify like little g.
Yeah, little G.
I'm pretty sure that's the Einstein equation. I don't know.
No.
Bro. I don't know
No.
nothing
Okay.
about the value of G.
Yeah.
Life gear.
that's-
I think.
Wait. Tell me though. What is it?
It's 9.8 meters per second squared.
Why would I know
Yeah.
that, bro? We're
'Cause
having a
this is
God
like,
is
this
real
is like
discussion.
foundational. I
Yes,
fear.
we're
That's like the 1st
I'm-
thing you learn
I'm-
in any physics class.
But I'm not a physics guy. Quant is the physics guy.
You would
I'm
have to
just
know.
saying God
You
is
would have
real,
to know
bro.
literally
I'm
nothing
just saying
about
God
this.
is real.
You'd have to know
I'm saying
nothing
God
at
is
all
real.
about. I hear you.
That's
You'd
all
have to
I'm
know
saying. You brought
literally
quant
nothing
in
at
for the
all
science.
about
I don't know shit
physics
about
to
science
not
for
know
real,
that.
bro.
Then why did you say that you've looked into this?
I have, but I don't know shit.
Like you would
I-
learn
bro.
this if you
No.
were in the back of the
No, bro.
classroom in like high school physics,
No,
like
bro.
masturbating every day. You would know this. This
No,
is like
bro.
this is like a thing that you would retain even if you were in like a coma for the
No.
semester, right?
No,
like
bro, I'm
this
not a
is
physics
you
guy.
would learn this
Well-
just by existing in like the same mile as like a physics classroom.
No, bro. You trying to gaslight me, bro. This
Also,
this
if
value,
you don't know anything about physics, then shouldn't you defer to the physicist?
Yeah, I'm just trying to talk to you, but I'm just simply telling you that the physics
You're
that
saying
you're
I'm
trying
wrong.
to take. No, I'm saying you guys haven't been probably thoroughly testing everything. You're narrow-minded. That's all I'm telling you.
Yeah, we haven't looked into.
Yeah, that's
if-
another fancy way of saying I'm wrong.
God, we got to get this guy to CERN. You know, as much fun as this is, I probably need to wrap this up because I have to spend. I don't have to, but I get to spend time with my girlfriend before I drop her off in a couple of hours.
Hell yeah.
All
All right, I'll drop down then.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for coming on up.
I'll go talk to John Physics again. Actually,
Yeah,
John Science.
yeah. Consult
He's
with John
related to
Science.
Physics.
See whether or not they're willing to issue Life Gear a job offer.
Will do.
Mouth the Old Hag, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub on Twitch. Thanks for being here for 4 months. 4 months. Thank you. Genji, thank you so much for the super chat. Did you ever encounter a podcast titled Atheology? That podcast was what got me into philosophy of religion. I want to say that that sounds familiar. I think I heard about real atheology. I think I've heard something from real atheology. Maybe not. I have no idea. Oh no. I've definitely heard stuff about this one before. I've for sure heard things from this channel before. They do like high quality like philosophy stuff. No, that's awesome. Okay, kid. Thanks so much for the GOAT trophy. I appreciate you. Big W. Okay, kid. Toyn, thank you so much for the galaxy on TikTok. Let's get a big W for Toyn. I appreciate that. OFC, Jimothy, thanks so much for super chat. This conversation is dangerous and should stop. Caller's house could be filling up with carbon monoxide at this very moment. True. Banger. Truth nuke. Grimlock, thank you so much for the $10 on Cash App. Dimensional hydration promotion. I'm so hydrated. Okay. Didn't kill the stream. Thank fuck. All right. Come see us. Come see Blitz, Justin, and I live. 1010 New York, October the 10th in New York. Bronxlandia. We're doing a show in San Francisco. This is when's gonna happen November 13th, and then LA November 14th. come debate us live. If you're an apologist, you want to come debate us, you want to come and tell us what's what, you can come debate us live. If you're a fan, you want to see us in LA, San Francisco, or New York, you can do that too. Tickets are available on Pangburn, pang-burn.com, or maybe it's just Pangburn. I think it's probably just Pangburn. Pangburn.com. No, it's not. It's Pang-Burn. I'm sorry. It is Pang-Burn. You can buy tickets on pang-burn.com. Come buy tickets. Come see us live. We would be so happy to meet you. Tickets are like $30. We would love to see you there. It's seriously going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a blast. But other than that, okay. PL, thanks so much for the super chat. Please unmute me, Molly. Probably no.
I have a little announcement to make about that. So Peel is one of the people who's been sending the sound gifs on TikTok. We did ask a bunch of times in chat for people not to send those. So Peel, we did try to mute you to see if that would stop you from sending those gifs. I don't think it worked. But we will unmute you if you promise not to keep sending those in the middle of debates. That would be great.
Yeah,
anybody can use appeal.gg.allegedlyian anytime if you have a problem with a moderation decision. Admins are happy to take a look. And I'll put
Absolutely.
that on screen right now as well.
Absolutely. Okay. Other than that, have a great day. I think Justin's live. Go check out